second. Oh, give me a second. Bear with me. I've been moving with the rain by myself. Alright, y'all. Let's invite the Holy Spirit in. Dear Holy Spirit, I just ask that you fill me with more of you, Lord, and less of me. Lord, allow me to bear the fruits of the Spirit, Lord, of patience and self-control. Lord, I ask that you put the market in my hands, Lord. Allow me to understand and be able to jump in the market when it's smart to do so, not be greedy, but to secure my profits and be thankful. Lord, I pray that as I'm in the market, you allow me to read my word and stay focused on you, Lord, and know the rest will come, Lord. Allow me to be confident to jump in trades when my alerts go off and not to doubt myself and doubt the ability you have given me. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. So now that we don't pray, you just want to look at what the chart is doing. Right now, we have marked the market structure on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. I think it's important to note that what we're seeing is this is low. This is getting close to breaking this lower high, right? But it hasn't broke under it, so it still shows me it's still bullish potential. That's why I have this marked in case it does reverse, because right now it's not as much volume in the market. But if this line does get broke, we can start looking for sells. If it breaks this, because that means it's respecting that lower high. So we're just waiting for it to show, because right now it has a lower high here that could respect and push down, right? But then we also have a lower high down here. I mean right here. This is the lower high, but this is the lower low right now. So if this is the lower high, we can expect it to break under here and go to form a new lower low. But also, if it respects this, we can expect it to keep pushing. So I think it's going to break it, but we're going to wait for it to show and then move accordingly. That's what we're looking for right now. But let's get into the word. So today we're breaking down 1 Samuel chapter 26 to start off. And it says, "And the Ziphites came unto Saul to Gibeon, saying, Doeth not David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon? Then Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul pitched in the hill of Hachilah, which is Jeshimon by the way. But David abode in the wilderness, and he saw that Saul came after him into the wilderness. David therefore sent out spies, and understood that Saul was coming very indeed. And David arose and came to the place where Saul pitched, and David beheld the place where Saul lay, and Abner the son of Ner, the captain of his host, and Saul lay in a trench. And the people pitched around about him, and then answered David and said unto Ahimelech the Hitterite, and to Abshirashai the son of Zerah, brother to Joab, saying, Who will go down with me to Saul to the camp? And Abshai said, I will go down with thee. And it says in verse 7, So David and Abshai came to the people by night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping within the trench, and his spear stuck in the ground in a bolster, but Abner and the people lay around him. So realize, like, they just basically crept up on him. So now that we see this, we're looking for a sell if it breaks this. So now that we just see that, we're looking to get in here. Put our stop loss here. We're looking to make the 1500 here. So that's what we're looking for, because now it broke through this lower high. Now it pulls up, it's different, but right now, because we had that wick, right? But what you gotta realize is a wick doesn't mean that it's respected yet, because it can wick in something and then push the other way. So notice how this wick is building. But I realize it's still 6 minutes. What you gotta realize is towards the end of the market, when the market's about to when volume's about to enter into the market or the candle's about to close, it moves crazy. So what we could see is it load up and just shoot from here. But also you could just see it pull back up here and then shoot down. So because it gave us an indication it could break under this lower low, we are looking for it to do that. If it switches to the upside, it closes right here. It's not just going boom, like, you know. So we gotta wait. Okay, what if I see on the 15? Because 15 bills it, well, it's billed it red. So I'm looking. Okay, we'll probably see it play down here. Now, will it close under it or will it close like right here? If it closes right here, this is once again. This is the breakout, right? It broke out here, right? Made an indication above this, and then it corrected. Now we can see the continuation. So now, if this closes here and then it's respecting this and then starts building, we can expect this to be making a higher high because we had the lower high here. So when it breaks out of here, it's making a move because either it's going to be making a lower low or it's going to be making a higher high. But it's going to give us an indication before it does that. And this is the first time it will break out. So we're still going to trade the indication, but we're going to take profit immediately once it goes into profit, so we're not losing anything. Because it could shoot to like 800, but it could also go to like 200 and then shoot the opposite way. So we're just going to get in, take profits, and then we're going wherever it stops us out, we're not going to try to jump back in. We're going to wait because once we see the indication, we know it's going to do a correction and then a continuation. And since it's so early in the market, like something I've started doing is waking up earlier to see, because I realize like the market will show you where it wants to go, but you gotta be up, you gotta be ready and know like what to expect versus just jumping in at 6 and be like, okay, where is it now? You know what I'm saying? Because the market gives a bunch of signs. Right now, it's consolidating between these levels. It's not even consolidating between here and here. It's consolidating between these little lows. But right now, we have a lower high that's formed, and we have a lower low. So it's just seeing which one it respects, because that's going to show us. If it breaks under this, we know it's looking to make a lower low. If it breaks above this, we know it's looking to make a higher high. So it's just jumping in on that. Knowing this indication, like I want to heavily emphasize, it is definitely indication, like because it hasn't broke out. You know, like this is Tuesday when it broke out. It hasn't broke out since, you know. So we got to realize it's going to indicate where it wants to go. But that's why we can know that's indication. We know it's still trying to break out to make a higher high. We just don't know where it's going to stop. That's why we're taking profit at wherever it shows us. Even if it's 150, that's still 150. We're up. You know what I'm saying? And I realize win or lose, if I trade the indication, I'm doing one trade. And however, if I make money, cool. If I lose money, I'm okay with it too. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta be okay with winning money and losing money the same way. Because I realize whatever you're risking, you gotta be okay with losing. And you see, it says I'm risking 1,000. I'm not letting that trade. As soon as that trade goes negative 200, I'm out the trade. So it's not holding it to hit your stop loss, just putting your stop loss at a safe level, so it doesn't stop loss you out immediately. Because sometimes it'll shoot the other way, and if your stop loss there, you don't even have a chance to manage the trade. It's already kicked you out, and now you're down however much. But I realize sometimes they do be liquidity sweeps. Sometimes it pulls down and then it shoots. So you gotta know that. But it continues. So right now what we see is that David is getting pursued after Saul, and that David actually realizes where Saul is, so he chooses to pay him a visit. And I realized that this should show you David's humility, because now he caught Saul lacking, like completely lacking. It's not like Saul knew he was coming, nothing. He caught him off guard. So at this point, Saul is at like very disadvantaged because he doesn't know like what his intentions are. And it's like when you realize if someone creeps up on you and someone like surprises you, you don't know they're coming. Like keyword surprise. So he's getting surprised. So it's like if David was an enemy of Saul, what does that mean? Saul is cooked at this point. But it says this: Abishai wants Saul's death. So the person he's went wants Saul to die. Okay. Then it says in verse 8, then said Abishai to David, God have delivered thy enemy into thy hand this day. Now therefore let me smite him, I pray thee, with the spear even to the earth at once, and I will not smite him a second time. He's like, hey, David, I will get rid of him. I'll kill him right here, and you won't even have to worry about me swinging twice. He's going to be gone. And this should let you know the reverence that the people of David, like his soldiers and his like warriors that he had served under him, had for him. Like they literally wanted to kill Saul because Saul tried to kill David, and it was like a way of him showing like, hey, boss, you don't even need to get your hands dirty. I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? But notice David's response. And David said unto Shai, destroy him not, for who can stretch forth his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? So we see that even in why David might want to hurt him, why in his deepest, like in the deepest parts of his brain might be like, dang, Saul deserves it because he done try to kill me and might want it. He realized, who can put their hands against the Lord's anointed? Like, who can go against a God and be unfazed, basically? Like, that was the heart posture. And I realized that if we considered this, like, today's video that's dropping will be about distrusting your thoughts and trusting the Lord. And I realized, like, this is a moment where we see it again, where David has to let go of his thoughts and his feelings towards the situation to let God overall rule. And I realize that we should be coming to this posture of surrendering whatever happens in our life to the Lord and letting him guide it. And I realize that it's so simple to say, but it's hard to actually walk in. It's hard to do the things like that are hard. It is like, I'm not gonna fake it like it's an easy point to be like, oh, I'm going to just distrust everything I feel and think, like, because the world tells you what, believe your thoughts, do this. How you doing? Sank it. How you doing, man? Or a woman? I don't know off the top of my head. But I hope you're having a good day or good morning. For me, it's 5, so it's definitely morning. But like we see, even though he might have felt how he felt, he said, who can put their hand against the Lord anointed? Notice, it wasn't who can do this thing and get away with it. It's like, no, who can do this thing against the Lord and get away with it? Like, nobody can. And then it says, David said, furthermore, as the Lord liveth, the Lord shall smite him, or his days shall come to die, and he shall descend into battle and perish. Realize that David recognizes that whatever was supposed to happen to Saul, God would bring it. That he believed that God was just in doing whatever needed to be done according to his will. David might have felt like he should have got the vengeance. He should have felt it. But we don't see that talked about, right? But a thing we do see talked about is that David says that as the Lord liveth, the Lord shall smite him, and his day shall come, or he shall descend into battle and perish. The Lord forbid that I should stretch forth my hand against the Lord's anointed. But I pray thee, take thou the spear that is at the bolster and the cruse of water, and let us go. So David took the spear and the cruse of water from Saul's bolster, and they knew it. Neither awakened, for they were still asleep, because a deep sleep from the Lord was fallen upon them. So God gave him ample opportunity to kill Saul if that was what he wanted to do. And David chose not to do it. I think that's so powerful, because you got to realize at this time, Saul has tried to kill David 3 occasions. This is a time where we see everyone recognizes that this is clearly the Lord aligning it perfectly, where he has the opportunity to smite Saul with as far as everything he sees is really no consequences. Like, who gonna stop him? Because they're asleep. They can't stop him. And I realize sometimes God will allow us to see everything we want. Like, David probably might have had this thought in his mind that, hey, I just need to catch him in this, right? But what we see is that I think God was testing his character. Will you try to take matters into your own hands, or will you trust that I am faithful to deliver? And I realize that God often asks us the same question. Do you trust me? Because if we trust God, we will move differently. If we trust God, we are not going to try to get back on people that do us wrong. We're going to trust that God is just and that he will get them back in due time. If we trust God, we won't worry about things we can't control. If we trust God, we won't be anxious, but we will run to prayer instead of running to our worries, running to our problems. We will submit those to the Lord. We will trust that he will come through. If we truly trust God, will we struggle with the things we still struggle, or will we walk into freedom? Trading gold, I can't trade gold on one of prop firm. So, and also, I trade in Q, so it's like whatever you trade, that's up to you. But like for me, it's like if I already know how to trade NQ, I don't really need to switch to gold. But on prop firms, you can't trade gold anyway, so yeah. In verse 13 it says, Did David went over to the other side and stood on the top of a hill afar, a great space being between them. And David cried to the people and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, Answerest thou not, Abner? Then Abner answered, And thou not, Abner? Then Abner answered and said, Who art thou that thou criest to the king? And David said to Abner, Art thou not a valiant man, who is like to thee in Israel? Wherefore thou hast not kept thy Lord. What is your strategy? What is the bias? Right now I think it's bearish. You just made higher lows. It's respecting. It's looking to break this lower high, but it hasn't showed the full bias yet. Right now we've seen lower high, lower low, lower low. So the next thing we can expect is a lower low if it's keeping structure. But we gotta see this candle break this lower low. Until it breaks this lower low, we can't obviously see it switch. But as long as it's respecting this lower low and it's not breaking it, we can still see a bullish potential. So this candle needs to break through and close under here for us to be fully bearish. But if I had to guess, I would say bearish right now. What is your strategy? I trade ICC and price action. So just knowing market structure, basically, like drawing out market structure and seeing where it breaks. So since this is the lower high, right? This lower here, yeah. So since this is a lower high, this lower high has to be respected. I kind of wrote it here. It has to be respected for a bearish move, meaning it has to stay under this to continue on the downtrend. And if it's broke, we can expect bullish. Hi, how you doing? Hishke? I'm sorry, I probably butchered that, but how you doing, man? Or a woman? How you doing? And here you see I have a lower low marked. So if it respects this and keeps pushing up, we can still think it's bullish. But if it breaks under, we can know it's bearish. So right now we have all the charts. How to buy, trade. You just hit the buy button when you get it pulled up. But like as far as if you're trying to like ask how like to trade, I would say you should watch some people. I would recommend watching Trades with Sai. He explains price action and market structure the best. Because the reason why I understand it so well is I took a bunch of notes and I've also like practiced it. So it's like my understanding might not be your understanding. Like I might not be able to explain it in a way that you understand. So it's like I'd rather give you the resource. I watch Trades with Sai and I've learned ICC and price action from him through that. So it's like that's something I can pour out to you, you know. But notice what I see is it's still not breaking this lower high. It's still respecting it. So this shows me it could be a bearish, a bullish push. But notice 53 seconds. 53 minutes. So we had it's not. We might have it. Push. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So that's why it's in these gaps is not really this all like this is a no trade zone because we don't know what it's gonna do in here. It's consolidating between here. It's not really respected nothing yet. We need to see it respect one way. It hasn't respected the lower high, it hasn't respected the lower low. Right now it's still respecting the lower low though. So that shows me it's still bullish potential. But it's still closest to breaking. Like I still want to see if this candle, because if this candle breaks this, like a full body, we can expect that it's going to be a boom, you know, so. Yeah, I realize like between 6:30 and like 7 is where, I see at 6:30 is normally where the big move happens, and it be off like a 15 candle. So I realize like, wherever this candle builds, it could make a big move. Yes, that's why for me it's just looking between lower time frames. Like, got the market structure. What is it looking to do? Here is looking to build. It was down. It hit this point, and then it's coming back down. So for me, it's seeing. Notice how it's coming out, then it's building up. So to keep this market structure, we would need to see this make a lower high and then keep shooting down. But notice these two. This ends at 51 minutes. This ends in, what's it called? 51 minutes. So what I can expect is this to turn green because this needs to turn green. And I realized for this will have to shoot boom, 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 like all the way up, right? But then realize that would mean this has to be, it takes 4 of these to build on that. So what we would need to see is, since this has been green, this has been green, this has been red, this would need to be green. So I'm expecting that it's going to be biased now, just looking at this structure. But I'm waiting for it to actually show me that it's, like, it has to build. I want to see this at least build back into here before I'm like, oh, it's bullish. So the bias, that's what I'm saying. Like, your bias can't be just made on what you think. Like, you have to see the market show. Like, since it's respecting this lower low, even though it's showing all the signs of a bearish push right now, since it's respecting this lower low, I'm thinking, okay, it might build up to, what's it called? The upside. But notice I still have my sell in place just in case it does reverse down. So we're just waiting. Like, until one of these is broke, we really don't know. But then it says, then David went over to the other side and stood on the top of a hill far off, a great space between them. And David cried to the people and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, Answerest thou not, Abner? Then Abner answered and said, Who art thou that criest to the king? And David said to Abner, Art thou not a valiant man, who is like to thee in Israel? Wherefore, therefore, right? It says, Wherefore, then hast thou not kept thy lord the king? For there came one of thy people in to destroy the king for thy lord. This is not good that thou hast done. As the Lord liveth, you are worthy to die, because you have not kept your master, the Lord's anointed. And now see where the king's spears and the crucial warrior that was in his bolster. So they're saying, like, hey, you failed to protect the king. Like, if I wanted to do him harm, I could have. And I think that's important. Like, he called him out. Like, yo, if I wanted to get him, like, he's gone. Like, he lets him know that, because I'm not gonna lie, it really could have got like that. Like, David wanted to kill Saul here, he could have easily. And it says, and Saul knew David's voice and said, Is this thy voice, my son David? And David said, It is my voice, my Lord. And he said, Wherefore doeth my Lord that thus pursue after his servant? For what have I done? For what evil is in my hand? Now therefore I pray thee, let the Lord, the king, hear the words of his servant. If the Lord have stirred thee up against me, let me accept the offering. But if they be the children of men, cursed be they before the Lord. For they have driven me out this day from abiding in the inheritance of the Lord, saying, Go and serve other gods. Now therefore, let not my blood fall to the earth before the face of the Lord. For the king of Israel is come out to seek a fleet, as when one doeth hunt a partridge in the mountains. Realize, he's saying, like, hey, I'm not gonna lie. If I truly, if this wasn't from the Lord, I accept it. But if this is from you, like, man, cursed be you, because I haven't did nothing to you. And I realize, like, that is very important to realize. Like, David acknowledges, I didn't do nothing to deserve this. So he's like, he brings it to the Lord. He's like, ultimately, Lord, if it's from you, I accept it. If it's not from you, bring that on the other people that are bringing this negativity on me for no reason. He submits it to God, and I realize we should submit our problems to God, knowing God can handle the problems. But a lot of times what we do is we tell God about our problems in fear and doubt, like he can't handle them. But the problems are only problems to us. We serve a God that can do the impossible, that can part the Red Sea, that can move mountains. God says if we have the faith the size of a mustard seed, we can move a mountain. How many people truly believe that? And I realize, like, something where you can show your belief is when you're going through tough times, when you're going through moments of uncertainty, moments of worry. That's where you get to show your faith in God the most. And I realize, like, even though I be going through ups and downs with trading, like, I know me showing up and just being consistent and trusting that I still know what I'm doing and that God has equipped me with the skills, it's gonna carry me, because I refuse to quit. I refuse to give up. I refuse to worry. What if it doesn't work? My only mindset is it will work, and it's got to work. When you have a mindset that it's got to work, it will work, because you'll put in the time to make it work. You'll pray consistently and give it to God, but you'll also work knowing faith without works is dead. Meaning, if I pray about it, I have faith, I gotta take action on that faith. I gotta step out my comfort zone. I pray for the Lord to heal my back, and it's like, bro, this joint is still hurting, but it's getting better every day. I'm icing every day. I'm stretching. I gotta keep showing up. It's like I can't get complacent. Man, how do I understand candlesticks clearly? I mean, easily. Here, I'll explain it like this. Okay, So here, I'm gonna zoom in on this candle so we can kind of see it. So if you see this candle, right, the body of the candle where it's like you see all this color. Here, I'm gonna try to like make a represent this part of the candle, right? Oh, you see where the candle ends right here in this body? This is called the body of the candle. So it's where it closed. So how you read this candle is, since it's red, we know this is where it ended. This is where it opened. It opened down here, right? That's why the wick shows like where it started. So, but what you gotta realize is that the market often does liquidity sweeps. So what a liquidity sweep is, and what you'll see on the candle, is these wicks. So this shows the lowest the price went during this time. We don't know when it happened, but during this candle, we had it go all the way to this wick, right? Here, let me delete this, and you just use my cursor. So it came all the way right here. So during that candle, it came to the top of this wick, right? This is the highest point it got. But as we see, it's red. So then the body is where it closed. It ended up opening here, like the body opened here, and it closed down here. This bottom wick shows you the lowest point that price went. So now, if you're watching this live, you're seeing, okay, it's testing high, but then it's closing down. It's testing high, and then it's closing down. It's testing high, and it's closing down. So this would generally show me that it's building a downtrend, right? And this bottom wick would be, it's testing down, but it's still closing. But notice how this wick is so small. So when I see this next one, notice it pulls up, but then it starts building down. And it builds all the way down here. And then this wick. So it's still testing lows. But overall, what is it doing though? It's still, the body is showing you where it went, like where it closed. This is important. The body is super important because it shows you where the price closed at. So it started up here, but it closed down here. So then the opposite is true for bearish. So this would be a bearish candle, right? Like a bearish is red, a green candle or an uptrend candle is green typically, right? So this would do the opposite of that. So now we see it tested all the way down here. But what happened? It closed up here. So it opened here. It closed up here. It tested down here at one point, but it also tested up here. But it closed at the top of this. So that's what that shows us. So the same way for this, we see it tested all the way down here, and it ended up testing all the way up here, but ended up closing up here. So that's what these candles tell us. The body tells us where the price ended. It opened and where it ended. The wicks show us where price has been. If this is the lowest, highest point it's been, this is the lowest point it's been. So hopefully that like makes sense. Avarava. If that helps you, like, let me know if you need further clarification. But that's like the most basic way I think I can explain it. So it basically just shows you where price has been. And I think once you understand how to read candles, it makes a lot more sense. Like even seeing this wick up here shows me it tested down here, but now it's fighting to build down here. So we could be pushing. Thank you so much. One thing more, how do I get to know perfectly of liquidity and technical analysis? Honestly, I don't think you will ever get perfectly like a perfect understanding of liquidity and technical analysis. But what I will say is the more you do it, the better you will get. Like for example, if I know I'm in a winning trade and it's pulling down, but it's like, you can kind of know what a liquidity sweep is because you'll see it pull down. Like notice it pulls down here and then it shoots up, you know? So how you can kind of tell liquidity is normally your stop loss should be at like the lower high. So when I jump into a sell, my stop loss is up here because this lower high shows me where I want to get out because that means it's reversing. The same way if I took a buy, my stop loss would be down here because the lower high is down here, you know? And it's like you basically want to have your stop loss at wherever the lower high or the lower, whatever the opposite trend was doing, that's where you want to have your stop loss because it's going to be a safe level where you can trail your stop loss at without having it like bounce, you know? Because I think it can be like scary sometimes. Just realizing like what if it reverses. But what you got to realize is your stop loss should be a level where if it goes to this, I know for certainty it's reversing. Obviously, just because something's in your stop loss doesn't mean you have to let it hit your stop loss. Notice how it says my stop loss is at 1920. You know, W bro, thank you so much. Of course, like Like I said, there's no point in me gatekeeping. Like for me, I want people to understand as much as I understand. Be just like, bro, God done gave me this skill. Like God done taught me, so why not teach others? Everything I don't learn about trading, I either learn from the bros, I learn from YouTube, or God convicted me and taught me a lesson about it. So it's like for me, I just be documenting that, and it's like I stream and do stuff like this, like where I'm streaming and telling y'all the process and explaining and answer questions because I generally want to see you win, bro. It's like you winning does not hurt me. It doesn't affect me at all. But why not see you win if I know I'm eating, bro? And I realize like everyone wants to do the course, everyone wants to do it. But something I pray to God is, Lord, when you make me profitable, allow me to be able to help others out of like because I know for me, God has changed my life with trading. Like just the amount I've grown as a person, bro. Are you in U.S. time zone? Yeah, I'm on Pacific Standard Time. So that's so right now it's 6:14 for me for like context. I ain't gonna lie, since it's building up, it's still respecting this. So I don't actually think it's really going to the downside no more. I'm gonna wait till it's like 20 minutes and see what it's building. But I honestly think it's about to shoot to the upside. Yeah, notice it's starting to build here. Because it's still respecting this lower high. So what I'm noticing is it's respecting it and starting to wick. So for me, it's just waiting now. I think it's actually going to be pulling to the upside. Because this has to form above. And this, it should have broke low, right? But now it's wicking. So what I think on this time frame is, this is the 4 hour that's showing this. All right, let me just say, boom. And then I'll mark it like this. So we had a push up here, and we had a push down here. We have a push here. Now we could be seeing here. This be another lower high that's respecting, and then push off that. But yeah, bro, like to me, I don't understand why people like, and to me, it makes me annoyed when people sell courses and stuff like, because a lot of times it's like if you're really making as much as you're promoting, why would you not sell? Why would you not like help other people? To me, it's like that shows me like I feel like it's a dead giveaway if someone's selling a course that they're not making as much as they say they are, because if you're making this all these hundreds of thousands of dollars and even 5 figures, right, off trading. Why do you need to sell a course? Why do you need to make money off your audience? Why do you need to monetize them? You know. And it's one thing making money just off YouTube, like because I'm gonna be monetized. You know what I'm saying, off YouTube, but it's not being like, oh, I'm gonna start spamming dumb ads on all my stuff. It's like no, it's just literally realizing like, bro, I can pour out like, and that's something that was like a big answer prayer for me. Is that just Lord help me to be able to steward the gifts in a way that glorifies you, you know? And I realized like God has given me a gift of understanding like the market and understanding like price action and knowing what I'm doing. Like yesterday I went down a band and I made it back, bro. And I realized like I ended up losing it because I was just kept over trading. Sometimes like that's my problem. My problem is just being greedy. And I realized like the Lord has convicted me of. He's called me out of it, and it's just something that I had to give to him and just be like, you know what, Lord, you're right. Like I don't need to hear. Let me tighten this window up because the lower high now is right here. Let me do this. So what I want y'all to see, cool thumbnail, bro. Watch it from India. Let's go, bro. I appreciate that, bro, and thank you. You know, I'm trying to get better with it. I'm trying to really like elevate my content, like everything, like try to get better thumbnails, try to like really engage and try to upload the best quality because I realize like God's definitely in control of blowing up the channel, but it's like, bro, there's certain things I can take, like I can do to like, you know what I'm saying, as far as like, bro, how did I miss this? Hold on. Bro, I meant to draw this line a little lower. Hold on. Let me think. Let me choose the box. Here. I low-key just need this. Nice. It won't let me move the box. Like, that's annoying. Okay, so it's right here. Yeah, so it's definitely, and this is what I'm saying, like, once you realize that the market will show you what it's trying to do, it's like even now. Notice it tested down here and now it's building up. So to me, it's just like a no-brainer. Okay, what am I starting to see? It'll probably build up, 5-minute close here, then boom. Because even on this, what did it do? 15, it pulled down, boom, higher low. Notice it made a higher low here. And it's respecting it. So it's just knowing, okay, boom, all signs are showing. Here, let me not confuse myself too much. It can overwhelm you. But now it's making a lower high. It made a lower high on the 15, is building off it. So it's just like, okay, boom. I'm not tripping about the wick necessarily being up here because all these other time frames are showing me it's building up too. So right here, look, 4 hour, 30 minutes is building up. What does it need to do to keep the structure? It needs to build this green. It needs to. It doesn't need to pull red. It needs to go green because ultimately it's building a higher low. So what I realize is, okay, boom. So I can know the 1 hour should be, it takes 4 1 hour candles to build on the 4. So what we got to realize is it had a green, and then it had a red. So for it to show green, what does that mean? This has to be green. So I'm looking, I'm like, oh, this should be a bullish play. So then when I drop down to the 15, I'm trying to see, is it showing me it building up? It is. It has a higher low and it's respecting it. So what I'm looking for is now, oh, let me get ready for a buy because if it breaks this line, I'm taking that, you know, because you already seen it build up. Notice it's going to indicate before it truly breaks out to this level, it's going to show us where it could go. So when it breaks above here, this is my job to be in this trade to, if it smacks my TP, you know, obviously I'm trying to make my one play and just be done for the day. But even if it goes up 600, I'm going to secure the 600 because at the end of the day, it's profit. You know what I'm saying? But what I realize is like, bro, that's how you gotta have the mindset. Like when you go into the market, be like, I'm gonna take one trade and I'm gonna execute that trade. Manage the trade. Like when I tell you, it's simple as taking it, not trying to make $100,000 in one trade. It's taking each trade. Forget about like today. The Lord showed me Isaiah, I believe it's 51, or it might have been 55. But it was saying, forget the former things. And I realized how God was applying that to my life. It was forget about yesterday. Forget about what you need, like what's happened in the past. What do you need to do today? And the thing is, I could hear the Lord tell me is I need to execute. I need to trust my levels, get in a trade, and manage the trade. Okay, I'm in profit. Now drag it to profit. Okay, it's shooting up. Okay, let the trade play. It's like, bro, my stop loss here. Why am I tripping if it's shooting up? It's like, let it keep shooting up. Oh, dang, that junk over 150. Trail. Boom. Oh, it went from 150 to 300. Trail 300. Oh, boom, 300. Now 600. 600. Trail. But it's like, bro, even if you get stopped out at 150, that's $150 you're up. And I realize we have, like, the prop firms really are, it's a lot of psychological warfare because you're like, oh, I got to finish this challenge of getting to this 3,000 mark. I got to make this money. But I realize, bro, it's literally base hits that win, bro. My bro Trey always told me, like, he was like, I'd rather take base hits because base hits build your confidence, but base hits also allow you to get constant revenue. And I realized, like, bro, I work, like, I have a 9 to 5, you know what I'm saying? And I realized, like, bro, at that 9 to 5, 150 is a good amount of money. That's like 2-3 days of work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't make $50 an hour, so it's at least more than three hours of work. And I realized, bro, I'm making that from my computer by reading a chart. And that's where I realized, that's what God was trying to teach me, is to be grateful that I'm able to make money off a chart, that I'm able to know when and when not to get in. And it's like, bro, do you count that as a blessing, or do you think you need more? And I realized, like, a lot of times we think we need more. We feel like we need this, we need that. And I realized, like, bro, always feeling like you need more makes you feel like you don't have enough, bro. And it's such a poison. And it's a poison that I've let, like, sell me too, bro. And it's like, I'm not telling you this just to say it, you know. I'm literally telling you because I've been there. I realized, like, my own pride, like yesterday, bro, I was literally down 1,500, and I wasn't panicking like, can I make it back? It was like, I'm going to make it back. I made it back, and I should have closed. As soon as I went up 200 from being down 1,300, I mean down 1,000, I should have been done. But my ego was like, I need more, and that's why I realized, like, chasing after the money makes you lose the money because you will never be satisfied. And I realize, like, we see this time and time in the Bible, is that lust is so dangerous. And a lot of people think lust only applies to women. No, lust applies to things in your life. If you're lusting after money, you will lose the money. If you're lusting after women, you will chase after these things and lose sight of the Lord. It's like, same way when you chase after money, you will, like, people sell their souls for money. It's like, we got to realize it's not a joke, bro. It's not a joke to sell your soul. It's not a joke to say, I'll do anything for money. Like, the people that be telling you, like, oh, I do this for $1 million, like, it shows their value system, bro. And I realize, like, for me, I'd rather take the slow come up. Like, I done prayed about this, and I asked the Lord to show me if this was for me, and he showed me it was. So it's like, bro, it's no doubt in my mind if the trading is for me. It's no doubt in my mind if this is something God called me to do. But I realize, like, bro, the moments of uncertainty, the moments of worry are where you got to trust the Lord the most. You got to stop worrying about things you can't control. You got to trust him, bro. And I realize, like, we have so many things in our life that we try to worry about and control, but ultimately the one who is in control is Jesus Christ. So let him be in control. It's like, no matter the war, Jesus is in control. No matter the struggles, Jesus is in control. Don't trip over things you can't control, but trust in the one who can change everything in an instant, which is God, bro. And I realize a lot of people say they trust God, but they don't truly walk in that faith daily. And I realize this is something I'm trying to remind myself, is walking in the faith daily is not easy. It's taking up your cross and walking with the Lord, even when it's uncomfortable. It's walking with the Lord, even when it's hard. It's being patient. The hardest thing about trading is being patient and not forcing trades. Notice how it's fighting up. So when this junk breaks this level, I'm in there because I waited for it. And I realized, like, bro, you know what it's building? Notice it's the 15 that's doing this. I realized from just watching, one 15-minute candle literally can be the difference between, like, can change your life. One 15-minute candle, because it can hit your TP like this. And I realized a lot of people don't think like that. They be like, oh, I need to watch the 1 hour. For me, I'm looking, okay, as soon as it broke this level, okay, it's above. Everything showing me is going green. I'm going to watch at 15, so as soon as it breaks above, I'm in there. Because I know if it breaks above on the 1 hour, right, I can jump in here and I can manage the trade on the 15 because I can see how it's playing. And this is where I realized this is where we see, okay, it pushed all the way up here. But realize, it's still 28 minutes. So because it pushed up here, doesn't mean it's necessarily going to stay up there. It could push up here and then shoot down. But it's just watching it. Okay, boom. I be able to jump in between the two time frames. Okay, 1 hour, 4 hour. Okay, still green. Okay, boom. 1 hour, still green. 15, still green. Okay, boom. So that's what I'm noting, bro. Because that 4 hour wants to go green. Because it's trying to make a lower high. So it's just being patient, bro. I realize patience is a virtue you need in trading. You need it. It's not something you could just want. You need patience. You need discipline. You need to build your character to truly be a good trader. And I realize you build your character by walking with the Lord, by keeping him first. It's not by you trying to do better. It's by you seeking the Lord more because he will change your heart. When I tell you, I didn't start getting profitable and start actually making money in trades until I stopped trying to do it on my own and I learned to lean and trade with the Lord. There's a reason why I read the word as I trade because it keeps me in peace. And it says in verse 21, then Saul said, I have sinned. Return, my son David, for I will no more do thee harm, because my soul was precious in thy eyes this day. Behold, I have played the fool and have erred exceedingly. So right now we hear, oh, Saul's like, hey, you know what? I'm messing up. My bad. Like, he's taking accountability, right? So that's what we see. So far, we see him take accountability and realize he's wrong. Let's see what continues to happen. And it says, and David answered and said, behold the king's spear. Let one of the young men come and fetch it. So he says, hey, look at the spear, because he wants him to recognize, if I wanted you dead, I could have killed you. Like, it is subtle how David did it, but David is letting him know, like, if I wanted you dead, you would be dead. And I think it's important to do that, because we don't see him actually do it, but he lets him know that he is a threat. And I realize a lot of people think that because we are God-fearing people and walk with God and children of God, that we can't stand on, like, really stand and, like, stand for something. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think, oh, you got to turn the other cheek. Turning the other cheek means you don't have to retaliate, but you can still check the issues. Hey, bro, I'm a, like, and it be subtle. Someone's talking crazy on you. Just be like, hey, bro, please don't speak to me that way. It's not, it's just not tolerating things that are crazy. Like, I think a lot of people think that because of, like, they use these verses out of, oh, you gotta turn the other cheek, you gotta be like this. Like, bro, realize I'm Christ-like, I'm not Christ, bro. And this, I be having my shortcomings. But something I realized is God didn't ask me to change my character. As far as he didn't say, oh, Reg, you gotta stop doing this. He naturally changed my character. So now instead of fighting people, I will check the issue. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not, like, we can take it there, but I'm gonna be honest, like, bro, is no point in doing that. Like, someone, oh, if they physically put their hands on me, I feel like that's escalating it. But most people don't try. Most people will say certain things out their mouth, and I'll be like, oh, that was cool, that was slick, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't make me, like, want to retaliate, you know? But what I realize is that there's also times where God will allow me to check people, but there's also a lot of times where he tells me to shut up. Like, there's quite a lot of times where the Lord has me shut up, because I be wanting to say some things to people to make them want to box me so I can beat them up. I'm not gonna lie, but the Lord will convict me of these things, because he be like, Reg, you know that's crazy, and I'll be like, I know, but it's like, so sometimes the Holy Spirit will shut your mouth. That's what I realize. Like, he will ultimately convict you of the things you need to change, you know. But then it says in verse 23, the Lord render to every man his righteousness and his faithfulness, for the Lord delivered thee into my hand. And today, but I would not stretch forth my hand against the Lord's anointed. He once again checks it. The Lord gave me into your hand. So if I wanted you dead, you be dead. That's basically what he's saying. And I think a lot of people think, like, David was super passive versus Saul. He really wasn't. He was standing on biz. Like, he was like, once again, if I wanted you dead, you be dead. So what is your issue with me? That's what he's saying. I think a lot of people, like, even myself, like this, I was thinking initially, like, when I read this, because I read the Bible 5 times, but when you read over these stories, sometimes it doesn't click fully, like the full context. So when I read this the first time, I'm like, dang, David just, like, he letting stuff slide. But now I see, no, David was pressing, bro. He's like, hey, I'm not gonna kill you, but you're not gonna keep playing. Jesus was a Muslim and he was a messenger of God. That is absolutely false. Jesus was the Son of God. He was fully man, fully God, and he is God in the flesh, and he lived a perfect life that we couldn't live. Died on the cross for you. He's not a messenger of God. He is God. Yeah, it's that simple. I'm not going to lie. It's like, I'll stand on that to the day I die. Jesus is God in the flesh. He is who he says he is. He is the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. He is not a messenger. He's not a prophet. He is God in the flesh. End of story. End of story. Simple as that. And it's like, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna delete that from my chat, because I don't even want people thinking that's the truth, because that's just not it. It's not, I'm not even going to ban you or nothing, like, bro. It's just, I'm gonna delete that message, because that's cap. We not allowing, no. Like, that's one thing I will not. Like, people could joke about me, whatever, but we not about to play on my Savior's name, bro. Like, Jesus is not. We're not gonna play with his divinity. Jesus is God. Simple as that. If you want, you can argue with a wall, bro. In the Bible, it literally says Jesus saying this: "I and the Father are one." How do we argue that? Like, I'm not gonna lie. Certain things is just not, like, it just doesn't make sense, like, how you can argue. But I realize, like, bro, people are gonna believe what they want to believe. But okay, hold on. Let's see. My entry. Oh, I did not mean. I'm not gonna lie. I study the Bible, bro. I don't study Islam. Yeah, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I don't study Islam. I study the Bible. I believe the Bible fully. Um, that is my belief. You know, you're entitled to believe what you want to believe, but the Lord has shown me that He is very real. I'm never gonna doubt that He's real. I'm not gonna change. Nothing's gonna change my faith in the fact that He is real and that He is God in the flesh. So, you know, like I said, you're entitled to believe what you believe, bro. I'm not one of them people that's gonna be like, hey, how dare you believe this? Like, nah, it's cool to believe what you believe. I'm just not. I have every answer I need, bro. I know my authority in Christ. I know I'm a child of God, and I know my identity. So, you know what I'm saying? Come back tomorrow. Let's do some reflecting. You know. Notice what was I saying? To reflect that it will pull down. That was a bad jump in. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why I took that. I just said that I wasn't gonna take it and trade. This is what I'm saying. Sometimes we gotta reflect. That was on me. I don't know why I jumped in there. I remember saying this was literally the indication. Hold on, bro. That was literally dumb. Let me rewrite this now. Take eyes to the upside. But that's why we don't trade indication. Notice how I made 150 and then I just lost like 280 quick. Quick. These it pulls down. Now I knew that was the indication. That was just dumb to take that. I'm not gonna lie. It's just like, bro, I don't know why I got it. But it's like, even now, it's not revenge trading and be like, oh, I gotta get it back. It's like, nah, I'm gonna wait for the setup now. I know that's indication. I'm not gonna force the trade. I'm gonna just wait. Because ultimately, in 20 minutes, we're gonna see this close. We're gonna see this build. So it gave us the indication it could break out. Now we just wait for it. So now we're watching the 15. It's cold outside, and I think that. We're just waiting for it to correct and then break out again. But notice, we made 100 and then we lost 2. I think we made 150, 170 something, and then we lost 280. So it's like, now I think we're down like 2.7 or something like that. But it's okay because ultimately we know, like, bro, what does it take? It takes one good trade to make all that back. You know what I'm saying? But it's just waiting. Okay, boom. I'm going to watch the 15 now. I'm going to see the closes. I'm going to be patient. You know what I'm saying? But, dang, I literally called it. Like, I was like, bro, I'm not going to trade the indication. I traded the indication, bro. And this is what I'm saying. Like, right here, people be like, oh, this is not a liquidity sweep. Realize, like, this pulling back is not necessarily a liquidity sweep. Like, it literally could be changing the whole trend. It could be showing it, breaking over here, and now it could close down. Like, and that's why I realized, like, it's risky to trade the indication. I think, I ain't gonna lie, like, after that, just losing how quick I lost. As soon as I make that money, I should not trade indication no more. Like, I literally sniped 150. It's like, that's where you gotta just be okay with whatever you make. But it's like, bro, being down money isn't. That's why you cut your losses early. Notice if I didn't get out, like I got out at 200. Notice it would have stopped, lost me out, and then I would have lost 1.2. So I realized it's so needed to be able to cut your losses. Like once I seen, okay, dang, I'm down 200, I'm out. It's not trying to hold it and try to hope that it's going down. It's like no, when you see it go 200 in the trade, like notice it went 200 and I clicked it and I still lost 280. Like when I tell you these sweeps don't be nothing to play with. Like when it sweeps, does a liquidity sweep or it just reverses, bro, it's not no little thing. Like when you go under 200, get out, bro. Get out. And I can't emphasize that enough. Like the importance of being able to cut your losses and just get out instead of just forcing, being like, oh, I gotta play this, I gotta do this. Like don't play yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so easy to get caught up in thinking like you gotta do A, B, C, but I realized like, bro, we had the indication. Now I know what can we expect. So we had the indication. Now we can expect a correction, and then we have a continuation if it's going to the upside. So just waiting. Notice it's a 15-minute candle, so it's building up crazy. But what I can see is this closing down here and then shooting, because it already showed us an indication. So if it breaks above here again, I know, okay, boom, I can take this, right? Because even though we pulled, we had a big push down. So if it breaks above here again, that's the second time it done broke it. So it's like, okay, now we ride it. You know what I'm saying? Because even if it's making it like it's building up there, it's gonna build some type of up. You know what I'm saying? So if it breaks this level, we're still looking to buy. Notice I can't even put an alert because it's playing right there. But one realize it's 15 minutes until this. So what I realize is we got one 15-minute candle before this closes. What does this need to be green? So it's already green. So it's not really like seeing if it's this is where I realize like it could show green for a little bit, like it could close green, but it could also be like, hey, I'm gonna close red. We traded the indication, made 150, then we lost 280. I want that to be an important lesson. Like just because you trade the indication, take whatever profit you get, and that's something I forgot to do. It's like I'm human, you know what I'm saying? I traded the indication, made the money, and then I was like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Take your money and be done. But for me, it's like exercise good discipline. Got out before it reversed. Because we see it reversed from up here to down here. So if I didn't get out here, I would have lost 1,200. So it's where you gotta be disciplined. Like 100% discipline is super important. Notice we just had we tested all the way here, and now we have a doji. So now I'm actually thinking, okay, we might actually be building towards the downside because we tested all the way up here, and now we're fighting down. So it's just watching it. Okay, boom. What is the market showing me? Notice this is a lower high on the 15. So if it's going down, it needs to break this. So that's what we're watching. Okay, boom. That's what it needs to break. I'm consciously thinking in my head, this is where it needs to break. So now we see it broke all the way up here, corrected down here. But notice it made this body here, and now it could build back. So if we, this could be counted as like the indication and then correct. So if it breaks over here again, what are we looking? We're looking for buys because ultimately we see what is it doing? It's building back up. So I think that's an important thing to know is just like being okay with chalking up your loss, but realizing why you lost. I lost because I traded the indication, made money, and I tried to make more. It's that simple. But you have to recognize it wasn't like the market did something weird. It's like you put yourself in a place where you knew it could reverse. So don't put yourself in a situation where you know you could lose potentially. It's like now when it breaks above here, I'm not hesitating to jump in because we already seen it break above once. So it's like the second time I'm okay, boom, I'm holding. And it's just like let it boom. As soon as it goes profit, I'm trailing. Boom. Even if I make 150, who cares? I'm up profit. You know what I'm saying? And I realize like these small base hits, these junks add up. But when you get in the habit of I have to make this certain amount. Notice my take profits at 1,800. That's how much I ideally want to make. You know what I'm saying? But I realize even if it goes 200, that's still money. That's still profit. You know what I'm saying? So it's not being greedy. It's just letting the market show us. Notice this candle is building, but it's not breaking above here. So what I realize is it could be building for a low. You gotta notice certain things like this because what we gotta realize is a lot of these candles, when it's doing the opposite, it will build all the way up here and then it'll shoot down, close. So since it's 12 minutes, I think the fact that it's building up there is actually building for a downside push. But it's getting ready for the bull push if it comes. But recognizing, okay, it could go this way, you know. And I want to finish with chapter 26. It says, so he said, the Lord render every man his righteousness and his faithfulness. And then it says in verse 24, and behold, as thy life was much set by this day in my eyes, so let my life be much set in the eyes of the Lord, and let him deliver me out of all tribulation. Then Saul said to David, blessed be thou, my son David, that thou shalt do both good, great things, and also thou shalt still prevail. So David turned and went his way, and Saul returned to his place. So notice, David does not go back with Saul. Realize you can forgive someone, you can believe someone without trusting them again. And I think that is super important. I think a lot of people think that trust is associated with, like, if you don't go back to being as cool with someone, that you don't, what's it called? Like, you're not showing them the love. But realize God says to love everyone. He doesn't say to let everyone in your circle, let everyone know your life. It's like, there's real monitor spheres. There's really people that don't want to see you win in life. And I realize, like, You can pray for someone, you can love them from a distance. You don't have to invite them back into your life. And that's something God had to show me, is that just because you're showing love to people does not mean you always have to be buddy with them. Like, I truly have probably like 10 people that I truly trust, like, and I know, like, will go to war behind me, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, ultimately, I know a lot of people. It's like a lot of people know me, but do I trust those people? No. Because it's like, trust is earned. Love is freely given. Jesus freely gives us love. But I realize, like, a lot of people get that misconstrued, and they're like, oh, well, God says to love thy neighbor, so I gotta show this person this. No, bro. And notice, yeah, I think it's about to shoot down. So we're gonna get ready for this downside. You notice the wick was all the way up here. It made this candle, and then it pushed all the way up here, and now it's forming down here. So what I can realize is it might be building to break down here. And realize we already played down here earlier today, but we never broke it. But remember, on the 1 hour, we're still ready for this lower high to be respected. 4 hour, notice it's still green. So I realized in 10 minutes, these will both form. But I realized this might form a doji. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, look, it would have to be, for it to continue on an uptrend, it needs to respect this lower high, but it needs to be building. It's not building anymore. So now when I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, it might be switching. So I'm knowing this will build on the other ones, but I'm ultimately watching, what is the 1 hour showing me? What is the 4 hour showing? Because these are the ones that you gotta watch. And I mark my charts based on the 1 hour. So I'm really watching a 1 hour. Because I realize there's 2 4-hour candles that are formed, and that will be formed throughout, like, this trading window that I trade, the 6 to 8. But I realize it's multiple 1 hour candles, like, that will, it's 2. It's 1 4-hour candle that'll be closed, that'll be formed during the 6 to 8, but it's 2 1 hour candles. So I realized if I'm using a 4-hour candle, if I'm marking my levels on a 1 hour time frame and checking it with the 15 and checking it with the 4, how much more consistent are my trades going to be? A lot more, you know? So it's like, okay, boom, it's building up. Now, mind you, what did I say we needed to see? We need to see price correct. So this is why right now we see it pull all the way down here. Price was up here, it pulled down here. Price was up here, it pulled down. So we got to realize, like, for it to be a good entry, for it to be a good play up here, we got to see some type of correction. So what I expect is for this to go a little red. You know what I'm saying? And if it doesn't, I'm like, oh, cool. Boom. But it's just being patient. So right now, since we're still respecting this lower high, I'm still looking for buys. But once we break that lower high, the next thing I'm looking for is it to be bullish. Bullish. So until then, this is what we're looking for. Can it break here? And if it does, that's when we jump in. I realize it takes a lot of patience in trading, like I just said. Like, for me to make that 150 and not stop, it was green, but it's like checking it early. I acknowledge, okay, boom, that's on me. That's on me. But did you see me try to trade it again? No, I cut my losses. And that's why I realized a lot of people lose trades and lose money because they don't know when to time. Like, a lot of people revenge trade. For me, it's like, obviously I want to get the money back, but I know the only way I'm gonna get that money back is taking an A+ setup and letting it play and smacking, you know. So I realized, like, I just gotta be patient. And it's just like, okay, patience is not just waiting and just hoping it works. It's like, no, use all the signs you've been given. Okay, so I got the 4 hour saying it's green. I got the 1 hour saying it's green. Let me drop down to the 15 to see what's actually happening. Oh, look, it's using the last 4 candles. So what do we see? Overall, these been red, but we had more green volume because this was 8K, but the more volume has been on 52K saying is red. 21K saying is red right now. So we gotta realize they're fighting for this. Like, they are truly fighting. But notice, what are we doing? Every time it gets up here, the sellers push it back down. Notice how we haven't even tried to go back down here. This shows me that the buyers are right here fighting. They're fighting with everything they got. But notice they're fighting to just even hold it here. So what I realize is once more volume kicks in, like at 7, right? We can see this shoot the other way. It's important things to note. Like realize right now between these levels we're consolidating. And it's like even forgetting the former thing. Forget that you're down money. What is the logical play? The logical play is to wait for the market to show you where it wants to go and to get in that play. So what am I doing? I'm being patient, not to force a trade, but to wait. Okay, boom. Now look, it's 5 minutes left. Now what do we start seeing? Oh, now it's building red. So for me, it's like, okay, boom. Is it going to respect the lower high? Still didn't break it. So for me, it's like until it breaks this lower high, I'm not looking for it to sell. I'm still looking for it to build up because it needs to break this lower low before it even can get to my indication. And notice, it could be an indication, but it could also really break out, just shoot, because what happened? We already tested it down here. But also what happened is that we already had a strong push to the upside. So when it breaks one way now, it's like strong. Okay, boom, it's been fighting, so it's ready to go. It has a lot of volume. So when the more volume you have in a market, the more you can be like, okay, boom, I know where this is going. Notice this is all low volume, and then we have a high volume candle. Boom. At 6:30, that's where a lot of volume kicked in. And what did it say? They basically said, hey, I tested up here, and now I closed down here. So it already shows, okay, generally, this is showing the bears are trying to take control. Now, what do we see? This next candle is fighting. It keeps trying to push up, and it keeps getting fought down. Those are important things to note, just to see what is the market showing me. Notice on the 15, we have a lower high that's respected right now. So for it to be on a downtrend, we need to see that this lower high gets taken out on the 15. But notice, what are we still seeing? It's still building. But what I want y'all to see is, look, if this is the lower high, right, and we're building down, like I want you to look at market structure. If this is a lower high, this is a lower low, right? And this becomes a lower high. What can we expect now? A lower low. So when I see this wick on the 1 hour, I think I'm like, okay, boom, it could build up. But notice how the wick is all the way up here and it's building down. So what I realize is we might close right here, and then the next one might shoot down. Like I'm talking about shoot down, like straight down. Notice here, going back, it should be building up, but what are we looking for it to build up? We're looking for it to build up, right? And then shoot. Because look, higher, we have a higher high, and then we have a higher low. So once this could be the lower high and then shoot down. So it's just looking at what it's showing. Okay, boom, this is what it's showing me. I think that's so important to just double and triple check like what your chart's showing you. Because I feel like we naturally have our own bias that we only look for. Like for me, it's easy to be like, oh, it's gonna buy. But honestly, it gave me an indication to the upside, but now it's building towards the downside. So it's like if it breaks its lower high, I'm gonna assume it's looking to sell. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's gotta buy. It's like, nah, bro. If the market's showing me different than when I charted, it's noting that, bro. It's heavily noting that. Excuse me. So don't let your bias like make you make poor decisions. I can't emphasize how important it is to control your psychology. Like, don't even let a lesson make you feel like you don't have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though you might get in a trade and lose money, do not think like, dang, bro, that was such a bad trade. I should have never got that. Realize, like, for me to get out that trade at 200, that took proper risk management. And that's where I realized I've grown. Because now I've taken multiple L's on accounts, and I've been able to make it back. Yesterday, I lost 10 band. So am I tripping on being down 200 right now? No. Because I was down a band, and I made it back. But I made it back by taking smart trades and waiting for my levels to be broke, and then jumping in then. So it's like I'm not going to change my strategy to try to chase the money now. It's like, no, stick to the policies that got you profitable. I got profitable by taking my pride out of, taking my knowledge and be like, oh, I know it all. It's like, no, I'm taking my bias out and just looking. It's like earlier, what was I saying? I said generally the bias looked bearish, you know? But what I see now is too, okay, if it's bearish, what am I seeing? So it's like, okay, I'm going to remove these. I'm going to remove these. Because we already know if it's going to the uptrend, what it needs to do. But let's see if it's going to the downtrend. What does it show? Okay, boom. Just mark this because we don't care about what it did before. Boom. This is all we see on the 1 hour. Like, keep it simple. We see a higher high, we see a low and a high. Then we see a lower low, and then we see it start pulling up. Then we go down to the 1 hour. What does it show? It shows it pulls up, pulls all the way down here, pulls up right here, makes a lower high. Now what can we expect? A lower low. And what is the market showing us there? That is looking to form a lower low. So it's like, why would I be like, oh, it can only go bearish? No, bro, it could actually, and it broke this lower low. So now, since we see it break under this lower low, I'm actually looking for sales now. I'm like, okay, we might be selling off this. But notice, it wicks, okay, it doesn't respect it. So now it's like, okay, 20 seconds. What is it going to do for this 20 seconds? Me, I'm going to prepare for this shoot. You notice, on a 4 hour is green, on a 1 hour is green. Oh, now on a 1 hour it's actually red. So this shows me, okay, we could definitely see. This closed in 11 seconds. So me, it's just getting ready. If best case scenario comes, we want to be in the profit. We want to smack that. So for me, it's okay. Boom. I'm gonna let it show. Boom. Let me do this 1 second, y'all. My bad. Myself. Okay. What we actually seeing is something different than I expected. We see it pull it up a little bit. Okay. Still bearish. Okay. But once again, we watch it at 15. Okay, boom. So now, what does it? Oh, now we getting excited because what? We had the indication, and then what happened? The price corrected down. So now it's building back up. So what am I looking to do? I'm looking to get in on this continuation because what did I say? I said, what happens? If it breaks above, what do we need to see? We need to see it correct. And what do we see here? It pulled up, indicated above, and then corrected all the way back down. So now if it builds all the way back up, A+ setup. You feel me? So it just literally, it's not rocket science. Like, I realize, like, trading, I think a lot of people try to, like, use all this terminology and, like, make trading seem harder than it is. It's literally just listening. Oh, thanks for the sub, Carsis. No, Cassis Carter. I think that's how you say it. I apologize if I butchered it. You know. Okay, boom, boom, boom. I've been walking by this rain by myself. But notice, lower wicks. So now I'm like, okay, boom. It's definitely showing me it's building to the downside. Because what is it showing? Like, if this still holds up how it looks right now on the 15, I'm like, okay, boom. Because it's building down. Notice these wicks are getting lower and lower. It started here, and then it got here. Then it started here, and then it got here. So it's like, still, until it breaks out, I'm still looking for sell. But that's something I think is important to note. Like, just seeing that it's been building down slowly. It's normally a pretty big tell of where it's trying to go. And what you got to realize is on the 15, do not let the movement on the 15 early on in the candle make you think it's going one way, because you'll get faked out. So what I want y'all to realize is that the market will show us where it wants to go. Notice how these wicks are building down and it's now fighting to go bearish early on. It's doing this at 11. It's still showing green, right? But notice it's still lower volume. Notice the volume needs to be up here, right? And it's looking at these volume candles. But notice how it's green right now, but it's still at the bottom of volume because the candle still has 11 minutes to form. What I want you to notice is that this is building up, right? Notice this isn't really building up. It closed down here. So it gave us a sign like this is 100K. Okay, this isn't high volume, but this is 100% high volume. 100K is telling us it's bearish. So for me, what I see now is either this formed a lower high, right? This could be a new lower high, or it's pushing now. And I realize, bro, it's a better chance it's pushing now. So for me, it's closing it because now we see it break under. We see it broke under this lower high that it had before. So now it's just getting ready, bro. Setting yourself up in a place where if it goes where you think it's gonna go, where I think it's gonna push down here, let me get in a position where I can smack and make money. If we see it break above this lower high, I can think it's going bearish. I mean, it's going bullish. But right now, it's been respecting this, but these wicks are building down. So the wicks are telling me it's building down. Notice the 15 bills on a 1 hour. Notice you just had a 1 hour close, right? So now we're looking, okay, everything's showing me what happened here. The wicks building on it. So I'm seeing on the 1 hour, it's starting to build. I'm not even caring about the 4 hour anymore. I think just hide in this. Because what are we seeing? Though, yeah, the 4 hour might be showing that, right? But now even on the 4 hour, we're seeing it was going down. So now I'm like, okay, boom, we have hot wicks. It's showing me it's a good strong push to the downside. So now I'm watching the 15, and when it breaks, that's where I'm looking to get into. Because I realize even if it is an indication, it's going to be a strong indication because what happened? It's been building up so much volume. Notice it was 100K volume already. Like even on this, it's already 15K going the other way. So it's literally just being patient. We're not going to try to assume what the market's going to do. We're just going to let it show us. So this move might be a little later today. And I think that's important to be okay with. Like, here, let me see if it lets me set my alarm. I'll say it like that. I truly hope it builds above. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It would be the best for me if it shot up. Because this would be a nice correction, right? And then we just build up and shoot. But what you gotta realize is until it breaks this lower high, it's still been showing more bearish than bullish. So that's something important we gotta know. Like when I watch this, I'm like, okay, what is this showing me? But it's not being biased. Notice, okay, let me see. It's been pulling down. It came here. It made a lower high. Now I made this lower low. Now it's respected. So now, let me close this for a second because I need to move this. Now this is the lower high that, this is the, here, let me do this. This is the lower low. Now we're not looking for this to be that lower. Now this is the lower high. Hold on, what is this? Yeah, higher high, higher low. Oh, hold on, that still applies. So let me see something. I don't know why I made that. So this is still the lower high, right? But notice now we have, I'm gonna mark this. This is a higher low. So seeing that as this is the higher low, we need it to respect this for it to continue on the uptrend. Notice how it's not, already we can just visually see it's not respecting it fully. It's playing on it and breaking it. So when I see like this wick, I'm still looking like, okay, boom, it's probably going to sell off this. Because what happened? High or low, right? It should be building here. But notice it's not doing that. And it's like, bro, it's not what you want the market to do. It's what the market is showing you is doing. That's important. You can feel how you want to feel about what the market is doing. But ultimately, the market is not going to bend to what you want to see. And when we start seeing it build down here and then make these wicks to the downside, that's normally showing you like where it's trying to go. Once again, until we break this lower high up here, we're not expecting it to truly be bearish. I mean bullish. We're just reading. Right now we have an indication to the upside and it hasn't tested a low. But realize earlier it tested a low. So now we see it tested here, it tested here. So now it's just showing, okay, it's indicated both ways. Where is it trying to go? Like actually trying to go. So it's just being patient. Like truly patience is a virtue. So notice if we can hold, that's where we could go. But since we already seen our indication over here, right? We're watching on the 15. The 15 is going to give us more data on actually how the market's moving. But let's read verse 27. It says, chapter 27, it says, And David said in his heart, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me that I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines. And Saul shall despair of me, to seek me any more in any coast of Israel. So shall I escape out of his hand. And David arose, and he passed over with the 600 that were with him, Achish and the son of Maoah, king of Gath. And David dwelt with Achish of Gath, he and his men, and every man with his house, even David with his two. And then it goes to the next page. But what I want you to realize is now he actually went to the enemies of Saul. The Philistines were the enemies of the Israelite people. But David's going to stand there because he realizes Saul wouldn't expect him to do that. And it makes him harder to get to. It says his two wives, Ahinoam the Jezreelites and Abigail the Chemarites, Nabal's wife. And it was told Saul that David was fled to Gath, and he sought no more again for him. Why did he not seek after him in Gath? Because he was afraid of the people of Gath. So that was a strategic move to go there because he realized, like, dang, I can't get him there because that's dangerous for me. And it says in verse 5, And David said unto Achish, If I have now found grace in thy eyes, let them give me a place. Here, let me do this. It says, If I have now found grace in thy eyes, let them give me a place in some town in the country that I may dwell there. For why should thy servant dwell in a royal city with thee? Then Achish gave him Ziklag that day, wherefore Ziklag pertained unto the kings of Judah unto this day. And at that time David dwelt in the country of the Philistines, was a full year and 4 months. So for a whole year and 4 months, he's literally dwelling in this unknown place. Mind you, God had told him he was going to be king. God didn't tell him he was going to go through all these tribulations on the way. God didn't tell him that Saul was going to try to kill him. But he told him that he would be with him and that he would be king. So what we see now is that now he's staying in Ziklag. We see that the people are afraid to go to Ziklag. Like, as far as what we see here. Now it's building up. Let me see. So like I said, it's not letting your bias get in the way of what the market's showing. The market's showing me it wants to go here. We can go here. Let's go. Like, never sad if the market wants to show me money, you know what I'm saying? But we see that David literally is staying in this unknown city and staying here because ultimately he has no other place to really go at this time. Like, he's getting chased and he's just looking for somewhere to stay with his men. And it says, And David and his men went up and invaded the Jeshurites and the Jezreelites and the Amalekites, for those nations were of old the inhabitants of the land, as thou goest to Shur, even unto the land of Egypt. And David smote the land, and left neither man nor woman alive, and took away the sheep, and the oxen, and the asses, and the camels, and the apparel, and returned, and came to Achish. And Achish said, Whither have ye made a road today? And David said, Against the south of Judah, against the south of the Jemarites, and against the south of the Canaanites. And David said, Neither man nor woman alive to bring tithing to Gath, saying, Lest they should tell on us, saying, So did David, so will be his manner to try out the Philistines. And Achish believed David, saying, He had made his people Israel utterly to abhor him. Therefore he shall be my servant forever. So what you gotta realize is David basically took this city as a way of showing Achish that he was loyal to him. And what we gotta realize is that was smart, because you gotta realize at this time, bro, David doesn't have any allies around him. Saul's still after, like, he's saying he doesn't want to kill him, but Saul done said this a couple times. He said, "Hey, it's all good," and then try to throw a javelin at him. He said did that twice. It wasn't like a one-time thing. It's twice already. So David's, I ain't gonna lie. If I'm David, I'm starting to hesitate trusting his word. Like, if I'm him, I'm like, I don't know, he might be capping. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is like kind of David making sure he has backing now. He gained favor with the man of Gash, because now he's seen that he took this city and he left none alive, right? So now we see that it ends with Achish believing David. So he trusts David. That's an important fact, is that he trusts David now. I think that is super important to see that now the trust is earned because of the action David did. I think that's important. And it says this in verse 28. Starting at verse 28, it says, not verse 28, chapter 28, it says, And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, and thou and thy men. So now he's inviting him to fight with him. David's getting invited to fight with the king of Gath. So now he's became an ally. Like, we should recognize this shows that he is an ally now with them. And what we see too, and I'm noticing on this, is now we see that it made this higher here. On the 15, what we're kind of seeing is, boom, comes up here, makes this high, pulls, right? And then it comes here, makes this another high, and we can see, boom, it's starting to build that structure for the downside, as long as it respects this. Because it's lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low. So even though it's showing green right now, it's still showing like overall building structure for the downtrend. So I'm still ready for if it does break above the buys, but it needs to make a very strong push to the upside for me to believe like it's a good entry. Just look at the structure. Yeah, like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it's gonna break through this lower high, break this lower low, and shoot down. That's just my thought process, you know. But once again, for us to start looking for sells, we need to see it break this lower low. So I'm gonna just take my bias out. I'm just gonna be ready for where it shows. I'm running by myself. And it says, And David said to Achish, Surely thou shalt know that thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, Therefore will I make thee keeper of my head forever. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. Realize, the Bible talks about familiar spirits and wizards and all this stuff. Realize that does not mean that this stuff is fake and that the Bible's just saying it for nothing. It's to show us that this stuff is real. And for a long time, I used to think like magic, all that stuff was fake. Psychics, all that stuff was fake. But I realized, no, it's literally gifts that Satan will give people so that they can boast about themselves, so they trust their own power, their own strength. And I realized, like, it makes sense that there's people that are psychic because demons have seen you and watched you since you grew up. So obviously they can know what has went on in your life. But realize that Satan's not omnipresent. So with knowing Satan's not omnipresent, I can know that he only knows what he can see. He only knows what he what is it? What's the terminology like I'm looking for? He only knows what we kind of reveal to him. And I realize sometimes he will use monitoring spirits in our lives, but we got to be aware of it. Like when people you don't really know just try to ask you like all these questions, realize like that might be it. Like I had some people ask like very invasive questions just randomly, and I'm like, oh, like I just go silent because it's certain times you're not supposed to speak about everything. It's like anything I share, I feel like the Lord calls me to share because I'm a very private person. It's like I feel like y'all know a good amount about me, but ultimately you'll only know as much as I want you to know. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're gonna have a complete playbook on me ever. Like, and that's why I realized like it's good to know balance. I think a lot of people lose sight of balance. And I think that losing sight of balance is very dangerous because if you're not balanced, if you're not like aware of the reality of the world and what's going on, you'll easily be fooled. It's like imagine if I just kept my bias on bias, and it's like, bro, it broke this lower low. So what I'm looking for it to do is now sell off that. So I bet you the 1 hour, yeah, it's building. So now what do we see? Now I'm not worried about this structure. What I'm seeing is this. Boom. It built up here. It made a higher low. Now it's shooting. This is the next play. From what it's showing me, this is it's respecting this lower high. It broke the lower low. What is it trying to do? It's trying to make a lower low. So for me, I know this candle should be red. This candle should be red. We already had the wick all the way up here. So when this closes, ultimately it's going to be red. So I realized this 15, it might shoot. Like, it might be down for a minute, you know? Because realize it takes these. We had some green here. These were the last 4 that made this. Now we see this. So now it could be 1, 2, like straight red candles for a minute. So it's just being patient. It's like knowing I don't jump into my alert goes off, but this is where I will say like between 6 and 8, I like watching the charts because I can actually see what is respected. Notice, what do I see here? I seen on the 1 hour, this made the higher low. If this made the lower high, right? And if this was a higher low, it would have respected this. This got broke. So now I'm deleting this. It's not a higher low. It's breaking under it. So what I realize is, okay, now I'm looking to the 15. What is the 15 showing me? It's still building down. This is important. Like, this is technical analysis, like really going through. You go through, use the higher time frames to check your work. Well, notice, what are we seeing here? Even on this time frame, even on the 4 hour, what do we see? We see it come here. We see it pull, and now we see it go. Lower high and continuation to the downside, right? So now I'm like, okay, boom. I don't even want to mark too much because I don't want to get confused. So now I'm seeing. I never seen that emoji on. I don't know what that is. Is that a nose? Hi, how you doing? But now, so when we watch, okay, the 1 hour structure, for it to respect market structure, it needs to make a lower low. Now on the 15, we're watching it make the lower low. It broke this at an indication. It broke this. Now we're waiting for it to break. So just getting ready. And this is one where it breaks. I'm actually hold the trade because I realize it's a strong, what's it called? It's a strong buildup. Like, as far as there's so much confirmation of this is making a lower low. So we see the lower high is going to a lower low. So now I'm not expecting it just to touch it. I'm expecting it to break all the way down here. So for me, it's just trailing my stop loss. Boom. Okay, smack, smack. You know what I'm saying? Knowing I'll probably do a liquidity sweep because it's trying to make a new all-time low. Like, it's not just trying to make a lower. Notice, we don't even have any data of it being down here for a long time. Like, notice the next time we see anything about it being down here, it's all the way down here. It hasn't been there since the 5th. It is currently March 3rd. So when I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, it hasn't been down here in a minute. So it's kind of bound to break. Notice it was consolidating a lot. So when it breaks through, it's like, okay, boom, let's get this money. So just letting it do it now. It's just really letting it do it. Like 100%, this is where you gotta just be patient. And I realized, like, bro, the candle is still, now this is where it's scary, right? Holding during this 15-minute candle is the hardest part because I realize this is where you can see like liquidity. But overall, if I'm still watching the 15, I'm seeing it pull and then it goes. And then it pulls, I'm just trailing my stop loss at a safe level. I'm not letting myself get stop lossed out because of fear. It's like, nah, I've been waiting for this setup. So let the trade play. Like, I'm trying to see it smack my TP, so this is the trade that I'm done. Just realize, if I get in here, it just has to go here and I'm done. Notice that's not a crazy move when you really think about it. Because what happened from here? It went from 450 and now it's at 391. So we already see it has a lot of volume. 15K on the 1 hour. 47K going to the downside. On 47K, like, we got to realize it's a lot of volume pushing to the downside. So I'm not expecting it just to touch it and then go. It's like, no, it done been building. It done tested these highs. So now it's like, this is where you got to be like, boom. Okay, when it breaks here, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to hold the trade. I'm going to trust the trade. And that's the point where I'm at, where I'm like, God, I trust that he got his hand on this. And it's like something I'm praying about is just helping me like lose my anxiety. And it's like, I'm going to pray with y'all, like, as far as just showing y'all, like, this is my process, because I be getting worried and anxious too. Dear Heavenly Father, I put this trade in your hand, Lord. I pray that if it breaks the level, Lord, you allow me to take the trade and hold the trade and trust that the trade is going to work, because I did the analysis. I did the chart work, Lord. Allow me to be patient and trust that your hand is on this. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. What I realize is that, bro, something God calls us to is a deeper faith. That deeper faith is trusting him through it all. Realizing, like, true faith is I'm going to trust everything I done marked, bro. I done seen it test down here. I done seen it do all this stuff. So now when it breaks, I'm going to be like, okay, boom. And I realized, like, for me, God did not call me to be timid. God did not call me to lack faith. And I realized, like, you need a lot of faith in trading. Because all today, I seen the indication to the upside. Now I started seeing these candles. I was like, dang, these candles are a sign that's building out. So now when I actually see the candle forming, I'm not hesitating to be like, oh, where is it going? I know where it's going because it's showing me where it's going. So just being patient. Okay, when it breaks it, we in. Notice, every time, what is it doing? It pulls back and then it shoots. It pulls back and then it shoots. So it's like, we got to actually let the trade play out. A bad habit I have is trying to secure profits so quick that I don't let the trade play out. But I realize, notice how it's moving even now. It pulls down and then it comes back a little bit and then it shoots. So it's like, I got to expect when I'm in the trade for it to do the same thing. This is why I'm holding it. I'm seeing how it's playing. I'm watching it. It's one thing if you go down 200 and you're not watching the trade. If you know why you jumped in and are confident in your analysis, why hesitate? And that's why I realized, like, this is where I just asked the Lord to help me have faith. And I realized, like, I was down 400, now I'm up. And now it's playing down. I realized, why is it moving like this? Because it's about to close. The candle is about to close. But it's just holding it. It's like, okay, boom. I'm going to let it do what it does. I'm going to let it do what it does. Because I realize this is important, because what it's doing is it pulls back a little bit and then it plays. So as long as it's not getting near my stop loss, I'm okay with it. Okay, I'm going to let it play. Boom. And I realize, like, this is where I got to have faith. And something I'm working on is just letting my trades play out, because I realize I be trying to control my trades so much. So there's a lot of times where I take myself out before the trade has time to actually play out how it's supposed to. And I realize this candle is literally, it's been waiting to build. It's so much volume in it. But it's just trusting it, bro. Like, it's truly easy to doubt and fear and worry, bro. I was down 400 in the same trade, bro. But you got to realize, like, it's showing me all the signs that it's shooting. Look at the 1 hour. It's still pushing. So it's like, why would I get out now? I'm not. I'm going to hold. I'm going to trust. And I realized, like, okay, boom. It's 30 minutes left on that. So I'm watching the 15. Okay, boom. What is it showing me? So now I'm like, okay, bro, this is 115. I'm going to be like, boom. I realized, what do we need to see? We need to see it close. It's 2 minutes left. So I'm not panicking right now. What I'm waiting for is that 2 minutes. Because I believe that this candle will shoot down. I believe that this is going to shoot down. The next one should shoot. Because I don't believe this is an indication anymore. Because we already had it indicate down here. We think this is the breakout. So it's just waiting for it. Okay, boom. Notice it's a minute too. It's like now we wait. We wait. We wait. We gotta be patient. We gotta wait. Be patient. And it's like if we get out right now, we're gonna make like 150, and then we're gonna probably miss the big move. But if I hold it, I believe that the big move is gonna come. So it's just being patient, not letting the money affect my decision making. But as far as I'm seeing so many signs that it's building out. So it's just holding it. I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna be patient. And I just prayed that the Lord give me the patience. Like, Lord, give me the patience to hold the trade and be disciplined. And I realized this is the moment where God is testing. Do I truly trust him? Do I trust that he got me? And I realized now it's like, okay, boom. I should be able to trail my stop loss, right? After this minute. Because what should it do? It should shoot. So I'm not tripping if it builds. I'm like, okay, boom. Now, I'm waiting. Here, let me let this keep shooting. Notice it's pulling back a little bit. But it's 40 minutes, so we're waiting for it. Why is it moving so crazy? And I'm looking to hold my stop loss because as soon as it starts shooting, I want to start securing profit. Because now we're gonna see this candle close. And I realize this is where you gotta trail. That first 15 is gonna show you where it should be starting and building off it. Because you remember I said this is where it closes. So that's where I want to see. And this 12, 10, whatever should be shooting off that. It should be building off that. So that's where I want to trail my stop loss at. So I'm not even tripping. Cool. 2, 1, boom. Now I'm trailing. Oh wow. But notice, what is it doing? It's literally just doing liquidity sweep. So it's like I'm watching it, but ultimately am I worried because I'm watching on the 15, it's still going there. So this is where I realize like this is why it's so important to check. It's not really building. So I realized I'm gonna just let the trade actually play out. Like I'm actually gonna let it play. Because I realized like I'd be so quick to get out before. Because I'm like, oh, I'm worried like it's gonna lose. But I realized like, bro, this is showing that it's building. But look, overall, what is it showing me on the 1 hour? It's showing me it's still building down. So it's not letting that make me have a fear and be like, I gotta get out. Because notice, what is it doing? It's moving crazy. But watch, boom, this is why it's moving like that. And realize, what does it do every time it builds? It will wick the other way and they'll respect. So I'm like, if we break this line, now we have some concerns. You know what I'm saying? But as long as we're respecting that, I'm like, okay, cool. Ooh, ooh. Okay, test it. Okay, okay. Ooh, ooh. Dang. Dang, I just lost my account. Well, it happens. Dang. I realized I should have took the profit. That was the indication, bro. I didn't realize I had marked it. That was the indication. Bro. But it's still going to pull too. But I literally should have just took that. Dang. And it's cool though, bro. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not even at a point where I'm even tripping. Like, it is what it is. But I want y'all to see, like, that's the process. Like, but it's like, even now. Switch from this. This account burned. Cool. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm a paper trade because it is what it is. But it's like not getting mad with that. Like for me, I realize that's a winning play. So I'm not tripping about it. It's like, okay, boom. What did it ultimately do? It did a liquidity sweep. And I knew it was a liquidity sweep because it still wasn't getting near here. It tested down here, but now it's building. So now I'm looking once again. It is what it is. Like you gotta be okay with losing. Like me, I'm okay with losing accounts because ultimately I was already down on that account a lot. So it was like, bro, I'm really not tripping about it. So now I'm targeting this TP. So it's like I'm not even gonna get mad. I'm not tripping. Like I gave it to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I ain't gonna lie. That's where I gotta trail my TP. I didn't realize that I put sell indication here. If I had realized that, I should would have trailed it at that whatever it went to. But that's on me. I still want you to see that. This is why we need to like secure profits here. Because when it reverses, so I would have got stop loss out at 3 or something, right? And then when it pulls back, I'm not in this trade. But then when the continuation occurs after, I'm in the trade again. But like I said, bro, you gotta kind of be okay with losing money in trading because ultimately that's the only way you learn lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I realized I was down so much on that account that it was gonna be hard. It was gonna take a long time for me to finally like get profitable on that. But for me, it's not like I'm scared and be like, dang, bro, do I even know what I'm doing? It's like, nah, bro. I realized because it didn't hit my TP again, it's still building. So yeah, it's correcting, but overall, what is it gonna do? It's 11 minutes. The next candle is gonna probably build down here because on a 1 hour it's still showing red. On a 4 hour, so what I'm gonna actually do is when I paper trade it, I'm gonna actually take this sell and show how I should have played it. I should have took profits here. It starts doing the liquidity sweep, get out. Because this is what I realized. Like on a prop firm, you can't afford to really be in liquidity sweeps at all. Which sucks because I ain't gonna lie, it's like, bro, it's like you wanna obviously trade like you wanna trade and take like the best entries and everything, but I realize like, bro, ultimately you can't control what the market how the market moves necessarily, like, and I realized like even this, why did it shoot, it shot here and shot to 8 and then it pushed down, so my trade was still winning. It's just I only had 800 I could lose on that account, right? So as soon as it hit this, it closed my account, which sucks, but ultimately the trade would have still won because we see now it's fighting back down here. So there's no doubt in my mind it's gonna break here. But what I realize is knowing how much like I had to leverage, this is where I should have probably been like, okay, I'm gonna secure profits, boom, I jump out, and I gotta get my head in the mindset that I can't hold trades like I want to, because if I'm swing trading, I'm holding that, you know what I'm saying? And I realize like this is where I gotta switch my mind from thinking, oh, I'm a hold, but getting the habits of, okay, I gotta scalp and then I gotta jump back in, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm not mad at losing the account. Like, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't see me crash out or nothing because ultimately it doesn't matter. No. It's like, yeah, that sucks that I lost it, but it's like ultimately I learned that this is what I'm saying. You can have a winning trade but still lose, especially on prop firms. This is why I don't really like trading on prop firms because this is a winning trade. But ultimately, with this liquidity sweep, it kicked me out. So what I have to do is, okay, I trade this. The highest value it gets to, okay, I trade to profit. Okay, boom. It goes to because what did it go to? Because I should have got out here because this is an important lesson. Um, 50 times 5, that's like 250. I should have got out at 250. Boom. And then now it's correcting. But notice, this is what I'm saying is correcting. Notice it doesn't break my stop loss, but it pulls all the way down here. Now what you got to realize is this next candle, like every candle that forms when it's making a trend, it goes this way, and then it closes that way. So it comes all the way up here, and then it closes that way. So that's what we're going to see this candle do. But once it breaks over, I'm going to show you what I should do. I should have took this 250, right? And then it's correcting, cool. Once it breaks out, like starts building back down, this is where I'm re-entering here and riding it to the downside. So for me, it's getting in the head of, okay, Lord, I trust that you are guiding my steps. Like I'm like, all right, Lord, boom. Like even with that trade, like I'm like, Lord, I trust you with it. Like, you know, it's like you can't say you trust God and when things go differently than you expect, get mad. It's like, nah, it's a lesson. Because what happened? Now we see a pull. It's like, dang, okay, it would have lost. Okay, cool. So now I realize, okay, that was an indication that I probably shouldn't have held that. Lesson learned. But what I learned that if I didn't just lose it, no. And I realized like that's why you gotta be okay with losing, bro. You gotta be okay with going through the process. There's people that trade for years and lose thousands of dollars, right? They lose thousands of dollars. For me, I probably lost less than a band trading. And I realized like I'm okay with losing money in this process because I realize I'd rather lose 60 here, you know what I'm saying, and be able to make 60 back. Like, once I get my first pay, I already made all that back that I done lost from trading. But I realized at the same time, what I learned is now how much the amount of insight I've learned from just watching the market and just growing has been insurmountable. Because now I can see, oh, dang, this might be touching all the here, indicated this way. So something I'm learning is I'm not trading indication anymore because I realized this is where I lost money, this is where I lost my account. So what I realized is this trading indication is terrible. Yeah, you could make money, but you could also lose money fast. Lost money here, lost money here. So what does that teach me? What lesson did I just learned? Do not trade indication. So what am I adding to my notes? Not we scalp indication. We do not trade indication. Hi, bro. Love for India. I appreciate that, man. And I love you too, man. We do not trade indication. So now we learned an important lesson. Do not trade indication. Why? Because it's unpredictable. We got in here, lost. Got in here, lost. What do we learn? Very nice channel name and thumbnail. I appreciate that. Thank you. So now we see. Now it's literally made all the signs. So we see it indicated this way. Now it's correcting. Now we can see the next candle after this could break through. Because notice the candle's building up, but it's not taking over the body of this. But this is what I'm saying. When I'm trading prop firms, a lesson and just in general something I've learned is it's better to wait. This is where I realize, like, my thing is that my issue isn't the chart. My issue is the timing of when I'm jumping into trades. I shouldn't have jumped in here. I shouldn't have jumped in here. I should be patient to wait. Okay, boom. What is this showing? So I realized I've been trading the indication. And it's been because I've been trying to get a trade between the 6 to 8 window. But I realized is you don't trade an indication because the indication is risky money. And I realized every time I've lost accounts and stuff, it has been, or lost money, it's been because I've been trading the indication. So this is something that I never wrote down is don't trade the indication. So now I knew, okay, this is indication. So now I know this isn't indication anymore. So now when I go here, I'm going to change this. It's not indication anymore. So now take sales to TP levels. Notice, if it breaks above here, now I'm taking buys. Because I realize something that has cooked me and has messed me up is feeling like I have to take a trade between this window. And I realized that God didn't just really let me see that until now. But that's an important lesson. So like I said, bro, losses do not affect you if you choose to learn a lesson. Notice how I didn't crash. I didn't get angry. Because at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. I learned that important lesson. Do not trade indication. And I also am learning, like, when I don't trade indication and I wait for it to correct and then the continuation is like 95% is going. And something I have to write down and something I'm going to document is that why did I get into trade? I trade indication because I've been thinking that I need to make this certain amount of money. But I realized if I don't trade the indication, I wait for the continuation, the chances of me making money are tenfold. And the chances of me losing money are a lot less. Because you're not really going to see a correction on a continuation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to see a liquidity sweep because I realized this wasn't a liquidity sweep. At first I thought it was a liquidity sweep. What I realized is it's not. It indicated here, this is the correction. And what I got to realize is, like, bro, a lot of times we think we know it all and we don't see what the market's showing us. Because notice, what is it showing? Okay, I broke up here. I came down here. I broke down here. I came down here. I broke down here. For it to continue shortage here, what does it need to do? Make a lower high and then boom. So this is what we're expecting, a lower high. And I realized, even on a 15-minute, this is the lower high that has been made. It has to respect this. And I realized on a 1 hour, it's respecting that lower high still. Yo, how you doing, D-Rex Edits? So we already seen the indication. Now we just wait. So we see it building down on a 4 hour. Building down on a 1 hour. Okay. So now, when you see these start kind of building, you can be like, oh, even though the 15 builds on this, what I can realize is that the 1 hour ultimately is good. What about you? I'm great, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I just learned an important lesson from the Lord. And I really think that the Lord just solved, like, my issue of why I was losing money. I was trading indication, and I realized trading indication is risky because you think it's liquidity sweep, but it really is not. It's you losing the trade. And I realized when you take an indication, it's only going to like 2-4. So you're risking, you're risking like basically you're risking like thousands of dollars to try to make like 200 because where it went up here. Like I want y'all to see this because this is not only for y'all. This is like documented for myself too. I realize each tick is like 5. So 90 times 5, that's like 240. Okay, right? So I risk 240, but we see the loss. 240, that 247 if it reversed. That's a lot to lose. Like that's a terrible risk to reward as far as what it showed me. Okay, now even down here, this is why we don't trade indication. Notice once again, if I jumped in where I said right, once again 65. So let's just say 60 for round up to 70 for the sake of what's it called, making the math easier. 70 times 5, that's 350. So I'm risking thousands of dollars to try to make 350 versus if I let the indication happen and then okay, boom, now I know that's the indication. Cool. Boom. It gives me the indication. Now I start watching the chart drop down to the 15 and I see this. Boom. Now when I see this, I'm like, oh, what is it doing? It's correcting. It's trying to test up here. So it shows me like, hey, I'm correcting. And then we can expect a big push again. But I realized I've been so like caught up in my own like desires and my own lust for money and trying to get it fast. I've been trading indication, which is the reason why I keep losing accounts. But I realized like this is an important lesson. This is my 5th account I don't lost. WGs is like 100%. Like bro, I'm not even mad. Like when I tell you the peace, like it just really clicked for me. Like God is literally telling me like Reg, until you stop trading indication, you're gonna keep losing because you're like look to your RR. Your RR doesn't necessarily matter in the grand scheme of things as far as risk to reward necessarily. But realize if I wait for the correction, like right, mind you, this is still the correction. Realize this is where I realize like boom. This 15, since we had, notice it builds the last 4. So we had this candle, we had this candle, and this candle, and this candle. Notice the majority of this candle is red. So what I used to think is that this candle, like, since these build on it, it has to show the same general direction. But I realized there's 26,000 volume in this. There's 24,000 here. There's 1K right here, right? 32K. But realize this candle is what's driving most of the 1 hour to show this because it was so much momentum and it was a big candle to the downside. So how far this moved? Notice it's a lot of volume, but it's respecting this candle. Notice these wicks. This is what I wanted you to see. Since we had this indication to the upside, we had a wick down here. Then next thing it was wick down here, wick down here, wick down here, wick down here, wick down here. Notice how it's building progressively down. Notice how it's still respecting this lower high on this. And we even have a lower high that's all the way up here on the 1 hour. It's respecting not only this lower high, but it's respecting this lower high. And realize, okay, boom. We even had another lower high respect. Now this is the lower high that it needs to respect. So what we got to realize is that, bro, the market will show you where it wants to go, but you got to listen. And I realized, like, bro, literally just being a little patient. Okay, I see this indication at 7:30. But realizing I don't have to trade. Now I got indication to the upside. I got indication to the downside. Why am I forcing a trade during the indication? And I realized like it took me literally losing that account for it to finally hit my brain. Every time I lost a trade, it's been when I trade the indication. And I know, like I consciously know, in trading indication is risky because you could lose a lot of money. But that desire to get that money is so strong. And I realized this is where the Lord like really just convict me. So that's why I did not get mad because I realized this was an important lesson I needed to really wrap my head around. Which is as long as you're okay with trading the indication, you're okay with losing money. You're okay with losing your account. And I realized now I have to progressively literally wait on the Lord to be like, hey, next time I can... Why is that? Hold on, what? It just sent me a verification code on something I didn't try to verify. Someone trying to get my account? What's going on? I said, what's going on? But I realized, like, that's an important lesson, bro. If God doesn't teach me that lesson, I still keep blowing accounts. But now I know for certainty, God done worked on my skill. I know what's going on in the market. God done worked on my mindset, understanding what the market's showing. Now he's also fixed my psychology of being okay with taking a loss in a moment and realizing like, okay, it's not the end of the world. So I ain't gonna lie, you definitely gotta come to terms with it not being the end of the world when you lose a trade. Because if you or lose the account, like bro, if you don't, bro, you're gonna be like, dang, bro, like it's cooked, it's this, bro. It's not the end of the world, bro. It's not. You're not gonna die. You'll be fine, bro. And I realized, bro, this is where I gotta control my lust for money because, bro, I can make a new account right now and be like, boom, I gotta get this money. But it's like, bro, I know that's not God's timing, bro. Because God doesn't rush. God is very patient. And I realize, like, I've been trying to rush his timing. And it's like, even now, what I'm doing for this is I'm actually going to hold the trade long term and see if it hits play my TP. Why do I have this TP here? Okay, dang, it's on the 1 hour. And I was like, dang, where is it showing? Because this is where it's been when it broke all the way down. So notice now we have the correction, we have the build up, all that. So when I see it break now, I'm looking for it when it breaks here to go all the way down here. Facts, like 100%, bro. And sometimes I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes the lessons suck. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I wanted to lose my account. Like don't get me wrong. Like I ain't gonna lie. I can't be mad. Like ultimately I'm not mad because like I said I put it in the Lord's hand. But I realized this was the lesson He was teaching me. It's just like realizing it's that simple. Like if you truly trust the Lord and trust that He knows what's best for you, you're not gonna worry about things going your way. And we see this with David. So I wanna finish 28 because it's like I'm not really too worried about the trading aspect. I want you to like realize like there's an important takeaway for everything that happens in your life. And realize like it's really nothing to worry about. Like what does me getting mad about losing an account that's already done do? It changes nothing. It just makes me like that's what Satan wants you to do. Satan wants you to crash out about things you can't control. Because when you do, what happens? It gives your anger. It lets your flesh win. It lets your thoughts run rapid. Like, dang, I'm never gonna be profitable. I'm a this, bro. Versus having a growth mindset and be like, okay, Lord, what are you teaching me in that? Don't trade indication. And it sounds so simple, but it's like really like right there. Notice, okay, what do I see? 4 hour and 1 hour still bearish. What did I see? I seen the indication, I seen the correction. Now I can see, okay, is this the continuation? Well, if it's the continuation, I need to see a break here. Sin. Yeah, like, bro, sin isn't even an action. It's literally an identity. And I realize, like, we play into this identity every time we start valuing our thoughts, bro. Because you have a lot of thoughts that aren't of you, bro. Like, thoughts of anxiousness and fear enter my brain. But I realize, like, bro, ultimately, the God I trust in doesn't give me anxiety. He doesn't give me fear. So who is that coming from? It's coming from Satan. And it's like, now I can recognize it's not coming from me. It's not me projecting these feelings. It's Satan trying to put these thoughts in my head to make me fear, to make me doubt. So I could have easily turned off streaming and be like, bro, the stream over with. No, I'm a stream until 8 because that's what my stream window is. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like still seeing, okay, boom. I'm not done for today because ultimately, if this trade hits, like when this trade breaks here, like when it breaks this level again, I'm jumping in because I already seen the indication and I seen the correction. And the higher time frames are still showing me it's building now. So why would I not get it? So it's like, bro, that's where you gotta really realize, like, bro, it is definitely a lot of spiritual warfare in life, bro. But you gotta realize that Jesus already won, bro. So it's not letting your thoughts run rapid and actually control you, bro. Ah. And in verse 12 it says this. So understanding the context so far in verse 28, we have seen that David gains favor with Achish, who is the king of Gad, and now he's getting a fight with him, right? And it says, and Saul inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that have a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. Realize, Saul inquires of God, and God does not answer. The reason for God's silence, like I want you to like kind of process. Why is God being silent to Saul? We see Saul is living a life where he's not living for God. He's not seeking after God for his whole heart. He goes to God as the last resort. As we see, he doesn't get an answer from God immediately. It just says that God did not respond, right? Inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered him not. So just because the Lord didn't answer, what was his next thing? I'm gonna go to a familiar spirit. That's like going to a psychic. Like, that's modern day. Oh, I'm asking God for prayer. Oh, God is answering. Now I'm going to a psychic. Well, dang. Like, I realize you're not supposed to give up on God when God doesn't answer in the way you think, or God doesn't answer immediately. You're supposed to keep seeking. In my opinion, I think Romans is the best book. I think Romans is a good book. My favorite book of the Bible, honestly, I think it probably would be Samuel. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like First and Second Samuel, I feel like they kind of gotta go together. But I think I'm out the most, like, reading First Samuel again. I feel like I've learned the most from reading First Samuel, just seeing how to walk in relationship with the Lord. Seeing how David does it, seeing the difference, the contrast to, like, Saul. As far as we see here, he goes to God and asks him a question. God doesn't answer. He immediately runs to this familiar spirit, this psychic. And I realized, like, for me, praying and asking to God to help me with the trading and take over, it's like, bro, something I've been just praying and just seeking after the Lord is like, Lord, guide my decisions. And I realized, like, from him, he just taught me an important lesson that is literally game changing. Don't trade the indication, because the indication is how you lose money. But I realized what that just showed me is I can wait for the continuation. Like, even now, it's building towards that continuation, and it's just like, okay, boom, 4 minutes, this closes. So now I can watch and be like, okay, boom. When this breaks, I can get in, because we already seen it broke and then it corrected. Notice this is still a lower wick. So it's just being patient to wait for it to actually break and be like, okay, boom, I'm going to take the sell now. So for me, giving up on the trading would have been, to me, giving up on what God has called me to do. God didn't call me to just be like, oh, boom. He told me, stream it all. Show your journey. Track your journey. Like, I think it's so beautiful to track the journey before they come up. Like, even though I lost money and lost the account today, I'm not tripping, because someone came in my stream earlier and they were asking me to explain how the candlesticks work, and I was able to explain it to them where they actually understood. That was beautiful. It's like, even now, D-Rex edits, you're in here and we're talking back and forth about our favorite books in the Bible. Like, that is a blessing, bro. But if you get so caught up in the money, you do not count the blessings that are around you, bro. And I realized, did me losing that account change my life? No, it didn't. I'm still going to work. I'm still getting money. Like, and that's why I realized, like, there's so many W's in life. But if you focus on the little L's that are lessons, that God intends for them to be lessons, but realize that we have a real enemy that wants your lessons, that God is teaching you lessons to be losses, so you feel like you lost something, that's when your perspective is cooked. Because you're like, dang, I lost. I did this, I did that. Like, I messed up what God had for me. But ultimately, I realized if God wanted me to win that trade, I would have won that trade. But he wanted me to lose it to make me realize, Reg, do you not see a common trend? And it never really clicked to me until today. I realized I lost money up here. Indication. I lost money down here. Indication. Okay, what is the common trend? Indication. What does that mean? Don't trade indication. Like, it's that simple, but it's something I never wrote. I had to have this trading plan, and I realized I never once said, do not trade indication. Nowhere on it. And it's something that's the only time I'm losing. So why would I not note that? And it's like, I never noted it. And it's like, I probably have it somewhere in my notes, but the notes that I actively track every day is the trading journal. So why do I not have it in the trading journal? Because my flesh desires that money, and it's like, what if the play doesn't come? And I realize that desire to chase after money is so strong. And I realize that what I gotta realize is that ultimately the market moves. The market is open from 5 a.m. until 2 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. So why do I feel like if I don't take a trade between 6 and 8, that I'm never going to have a trade opportunity? Bro, it's such a cooked mindset, and I want you, like, I'm telling y'all about like what's my psychology and stuff because I be noting this stuff. Like, bro, I don't just say this stuff so it's just like goes in one ear and out. I want y'all to learn from my struggles because at the end of the day, I know that this is what God called me to, so it's no doubt in my mind if I'm gonna be successful with it. I know that trading is gonna change my life. What do you think about Revelation? Is it a top 3 book for you? I think Revelation for me is a good book because it gives us hope. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it used to scare me, especially when I first read it for the first time. I thought it was kind of scary. But then when I realized, like, and I understood that Jesus' sacrifice was solely up to him, it doesn't change based on what I do or anything. And my job is just to believe in Jesus and trust that he clothed me in his righteousness through his perfect sacrifice. It made me brought me so much joy because now instead of looking at myself as that wicked person, I look to myself as, dang, I get to be in a New Jerusalem. I get to see my God in all his glory. Like, I get to cherish that, and it brought me so much joy. But I feel like when you don't know that it's not up to you to do good, but believe in the one who was good, I feel like it's a very scary book, bro. But once you realize, like, dang, it's not up to me. It's not up to me to try to be good. It's up to me to trust God. I think it's super free, and I think it's, like, truly beautiful, you know? And I realize, like, bro, that's why it's so important to just give it to God. It's like with trading. I gave it to God, so I know I can't lose, bro. And I realize, like, something I talk about in my trading journal that actually motivates me is in Ecclesiastes 7:8, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. What I realize is that this is where the Lord is testing my patience, testing my faith and resolve. Am I going to trust him? Am I going to be okay with taking losses in this journey? Because I know that once I start getting these payouts and start truly making a bag off this, that it's not really going to matter in the grand scheme of things how many times I lost. I still have not got close to losing a bank. I maybe have lost like 300 or 400 from burning accounts because I think I done lost like in total probably like 5 or 6 accounts now. So it's been like 60 to 70 on accounts. So that's probably closer. Let's do the math. Like, let's say the average is 70, and let's say I blew 6 accounts, 420, right? One payout for 2,000, right? I'm already up profit. But I realize a lot of us don't think this way. The way a lot of us think is, if I don't get it now, it's never gonna happen. If it doesn't happen now, it's never gonna happen. And I realize, like, this is a poison from Satan, bro. It's a poison. Like, realize God's timing is not the same as our timing. God's thought process is not the same as our thought process. It's so much higher. And to realize, what did it just do? It made a lower low. It just made another lower high, and it matched this one. So this shows me it could shoot up now. We already had an indication to break out. So if it breaks above here, it's taking profit. Now you notice how we have our alerts? So I'm not about to be checking what the market is doing. I'm going to let my alert show me. Okay, my alert goes, I'm going to take a sell. My alert goes to the upside, I'm going to take a buy. And I'm going to hold it. Because now it's not worrying if it's an indication. It's knowing this is the breakout because I already seen the correction. I already seen all of that. So this is where I realize, like, bro, this is why God has taught me to just set alerts and get off the charts. Like, you look at it too much, you start trying to force entries. Between here, I already said this is a no trade zone. Now we have indications both to the upside and to the downside. Because realize if this is an indication and it broke above here, it corrected. Now we can see it build. This is the correction. Now we can see it build back up. But I realize if it's to the downside, what can we see? It broke up, it broke down, right? This is the correction, and then we can see the continuation. But until it breaks one way, we don't know which way it was going. So there's no point in trading right here. But I realize it's going to break out one way because realize for the market to continue how it was going, it has to break out one way. But I realize it doesn't. It can happen at 10:30, it can happen at 11, but it's not chasing the money, bro. And I realize, like, God just taught me an important lesson, and this is what I want y'all, like, I'm going to show y'all my journaling process. Because I think it's important to note, like, so for me, it's not even looking at the charts anymore. Okay, boom, cool. I got my alert set. It'll let me know when there's an entry. Okay, so what I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna close the charts, right? Because I think it's important to close the charts and just be okay with not take a trade. So now I'm gonna go down here. This is the thing that I know. This is why I know I'm profitable. My win percentage was at 90 because notice I was staying disciplined and trusting my rules, and then I got in the habit of starting to trade this indication because I started lusting after the money. Notice I didn't realize it until now, but I started lusting after the money. So now instead of having here, I don't know what happened. Okay. Instead of having a better win percentage, I have a worse win percentage because I've stopped trusting that if I'm patient, it will work. Notice, what was that? It was a lack of faith. And I realized in that indication, what happened? It went down 200. It went down 300 and I didn't get out. And it shot from there. So what does that show me? I broke this rule too. When it went down 200, I should have cut my losses, but I didn't. So I want you to realize, excuse me, when I break my trading plan, I lose. And that's why, did I stick to my trading plan? That determines if it was a win or not. Notice, I broke this rule, and I broke trading indication. That's why I lost. So when I stick to these, I can know I'm going to win. Even if the money doesn't come. And I realized, I started focusing on the money. So it's like, bro, this is what I want y'all to see, like, bro. God is really teaching me an important lesson. So for me, I don't worry about it. I'm like, dang. Because I realize, bro, it doesn't take much to change your life with anything, bro. It doesn't take much, bro. It just takes faith, bro. Because I know, like, tomorrow, if God wants me to be funded, I'll have the money to get another one, you know? But I realize, like, I'm okay with waiting on the Lord. I'm okay with knowing that, okay, I messed up. This is back-to-back days where I broke. So now, what did I do well? What did I do well about this? I recognized not always is your thing you did well going to be related to trading necessary. I recognize that God taught me an important lesson about greed and lust. I was lusting after the money, so I forced trades and so I traded indication. But even in losing my account, I am calm and collected because I know this isn't the end. And what you gotta realize is that, bro, this isn't for nobody else. Like, people be like, oh, why are you writing so detailed? Like, you don't need to put this. No, this is for me to look at. Because I read the day before. Every single day I trade, I read the day before to help me. What do I need to improve moving forward? I need to trust Jesus. One, like, gotta trust him. But then I gotta realize I need to trust him and realize he has taught me the skills to be profitable. That's one. Once you realize you have the knowledge and the understanding to be profitable, that changes things. So now I'm not worried about if I have the skill. I need to not trade indication, be patient, and not trade indication. But to note when indication happens and take buys or sells after the correction finishes. Drop down to the 15-minute time frame to see the correction happen. This was not a no trade day. Okay, why did I enter? It wasn't because my alert went off. I have to recognize this. My alert went off, right? Went off for an sell indication. and I got in and traded indication and lost. And I realized, like, bro, if I don't trade indication, I'm not having to worry about, oh, what if this, like, and I realized, notice how I'm holding that trade and I have my stop loss and all this stuff, right? But where it's okay to let your trades play out is when you done did the market analysis, you done seen the indication, you done seen the correction, and now it's nothing but to go up. But a lot of us don't listen to that. You know what we do? Oh, okay, it did this, it did that. You know, it did two things I wanted. Okay, I'm gonna jump in now. But did we see every aspect that we needed to see to be confident? No. And I realized, like, God is too good for us to worry about things going differently than we expected. Like, 100%, like, bro. And I realized, like, bro, truly, you don't know how refreshing it has been to talk to you, D-Rex. Like, it's like, I don't even know you, bro. And this is the first time I've seen you in the stream. But the fact that you're just, like, I love talking to people, especially, like, and just sharing my testimony. Like, not only sharing my testimony, but sharing my struggles, bro. I have days where I fall, bro. This was a day where I fell. But I know that the reason why I took that lesson, notice, do I say loss? I said total lessons. Because when it's only a loss if you don't gain anything from it. When you gain understanding from it, you don't lose. And look, I took this trade, like, just going back, reasons for getting into trades. Notice I lost when I traded indication. I believe that the indication correction I ended. It didn't. Lost. I didn't take a trade because I was waiting for the correction to happen. And when it did, it was hard to identify. This is when I didn't know how to read it. I don't need to force a trade. Bro, notice, I've had all these days of taking trades because not because necessarily the setup always came up, because I wanted the money, bro. And I realized, like, it's a poison, bro. It's a poison. It's truly a poison, the lust after money. And I realized it's not like I'm funded and I have to trade, have to have like 5 winning days in a row. And I realized, even when you're funded, it doesn't say it has to be 5 green days in a row. It says 5 winning days. And I realized, like, bro, this idea I have to take a trade every day has been rooted in the fact that Satan wants me to keep chasing after the money, because the more I chase after, the more the money runs for me. But when I realize I don't need to chase after the money, I don't need to force setups. I just need to wait for the market to show me the entry and take the entry. Boom. Like, even now, I mark my charts, and I kid you not, when that alert goes off, I'm going to jump in the trade. I'm going to take it to that TP level because I know that's a strong level where it should play. How you realistically are supposed to be managing a trade is, I'm going to show you, bro, it's like this. I think it's kind of crazy just how dumb I've been at times. You helped me find God. I can't thank you enough, bro. That's crazy, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, that's like big for me, bro. Like, I'm glad that I could help, bro. Like, truly finding Jesus was the best thing that happened to me, bro. He saved my life. He's the only reason why I can have, like, a positive outlook on life, bro. Like, I'll be honest right now, bro. I'm going through some of the worst pain, physical pain in my life. Like, my back hurts whether I'm sitting down, standing up, like. And it's not like a little pain. It's like a sharp pain. And I've been icing, I've been stretching, and it's like, it's getting better, but it still be hurting at times. Like, right now, it's not aching because I iced earlier and I stretched. But, like, sometimes, bro, sometimes that pain shoots up, and I be like, God, why? Like, I be so, like, sad, bro, because it's like, bro, that pain do not be light. But I realize, like, bro, God never forsakes me. And notice, like, bro, now what is happening? It did all this consolidate, it did all this indication, but now it's building up. So when it breaks through here, why would we think it's doing anything else but shooting up, bro? And I realize, like, bro, we have this mindset that it will only go here. It will only go there. No, bro. Why would it not go to this new high? Because realize, what is it doing on this higher time? Notice. Boom. It made this bottom, like, boom. Like, this, and this is why I like doing this, like, every couple now and then. It's just seeing what the market is showing me. It built up here, came to this level, broke down here. Boom. made another low, equal low, right? Now it's bound to build higher highs and keep going here. Like, so me is not worrying like, oh, when is it gonna do? It's like, bro, look at what the market is showing you. The market is showing you where it wants to go. We already had an indication up here. So now we're waiting for it to break. And I ain't gonna lie, what we'll probably see is when it does break above, it'll probably pull into here and it shoots. But ultimately, we already seen the indication because we traded it. So it's like, why, like, the analysis gets so much simpler when you realize, like, it's not up to me to be trying to be a genius and try to, like, guess. Read what the market's doing, bro. It came up. It came down. What's the next thing? Come here. Maybe make a lower high and then bounce. But regardless, it needs to come up here regardless. So this is, like, regardless, it's showing, everything is showing it's going up. So why am I, like, why would I be like, dang, what if it doesn't go up? Like, what do you mean, what if it doesn't go up? Like, it's showing you all the signs that it's going up. So why would you not think it's going to go up? And I realize, notice my TP's up here. But if I see it goes up profit, and then it starts shooting all the way down, bro, I'm going to take profit. Like, and that's why I realized, you can have a level up here. This shows you, like, the highest it's been. This was the highest high. When it broke out of here, this was the highest high it went. But realize, it might not make that high. But if it breaks out of here, you know. You struggle with anxiety or a book that can help me, I would say Philippians 4:6. It says, here, I'll read it for you here. I got you, bro. I got you. Philippians. Here. Hold on, let me Philippians. I got you, brother, right here. Philippians 4:6. This is a verse that helped me a lot. It says, Philippians 4:6. It says, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And then it says in verse 7, that like is the parallel with it. It says, and the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Why does God tell us the 6 and 7? Like, because he wants us to realize, like, that it's going to be times where we're anxious. It's going to be times where we're worried. But we need to run to the word of God. We need to trust God. Like, with me praying about trading, I'm going to put it in his hands. So it's no way it can lose. It's no way it can fail. It's like the peace of God. Like, the only reason why I'm calm right now and not crashing out about losing my account is because I know that it was part of God's plan. Because ultimately I prayed. I said, Lord, allow me to be disciplined to boom. And it's like, I could be like, oh, dang, I didn't trade this. But I realized, like, it's no point in talking about what could have happened. What happened? What happened is I didn't take profits and it reversed. I lost my account. Cool. But what just happened? Now I've learned valuable insights that I can write and note. So now I don't have that same thing that happened. It's like, to be real, if I won that trade, I probably still wouldn't be still on stream. But now I'm showing y'all the journal because I'm like, boom. Like, you ask me that, like, bro, that's why I pray so much. Is because I be having anxiousness, I be overthinking, I be worrying too, bro. But it's like, pray, give it to God. For impact, don't trade the indication. Okay, now, what are key takeaways? Don't. Trade indication is the first one. Be patient to wait for the indication. Correction. And then see the indication on the 1 hour and drop down to the 15 to see the correction continuation. Okay, so now I finished journaling. I just want to show you kind of how you can kind of see how it plays, like, one last time. So kind of makes sense if you don't know what I'm saying, like, right? So notice when we seen this break, it was green, right? So now I would drop. So as soon as we see it break above to this level, right? Now I drop down to the 15. Now I see, okay, boom, it broke. Now what happened? It broke above, right? And then it corrected all the way back down from 6:30 until 7:15. It was pulling down. Then at 7:30, we had an indication after it made an indication to the downside, right? Where you would think like, oh, it's an indication and it's correcting, right? Now we see it pushing all the way up. But notice, this was the lower high that was formed. Now it broke the lower high structure. So now we can say, oh, it's not on a downtrend anymore. So once it breaks this structure and is not respecting this anymore, I'm not looking for it to go bearish. I'm looking for it to go bullish. So now it's building up. So now I know when it breaks here, what is it trying to do? It's shooting. So it's literally just doing a market analysis, like, bro. I ain't gonna lie, it different when you realize like that's as simple as the process is, bro. But I'm gonna wrap the stream up there. But hopefully this stream not only helped you, but helped you learn from my mistakes, my uh, losses, and just grow and realize like it's only a loss if you let it be a loss. If you choose to learn a lesson, it's a lesson, not a loss. So choose to view your L's as lessons, not losses, and choose to realize that God got his hand on you, bro. When you give something to God, you can't fail because God does not lose. So knowing God's character, knowing he doesn't lose, you shouldn't doubt, you shouldn't worry. All right, bro.